560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Amid all of the swirl around the Trump universe as well as the Biden Inc. operation, don't forget about the local. Don't forget about the local. Keep track of what's going on in your hamlet and in your state, particularly for you Illinois residents. The state agency that distributes unemployment benefits, that would be IDES, paid out more than $5 billion in fraudulent or excessive claims over 2 years when the COVID-19 pandemic forced businesses to cut back on their operations or shut down. Is that, this is Chicago Tribune reporting, is that what happened? COVID-19 forced businesses to cut back on their operations or shut down? Or did government force businesses to cut back on their operations or shut down?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636, type in DA. Then a quick comment. I love how they changed the wording. Yes, it was the disease that shut everything down. No, our politicians did.
The Auditor General is a guy named Frank Martino. He's still there. I mean, he did this report, so I guess I got to give him credit for that. But this is a guy who had some very curious campaign spending when he was a state legislator, like Jesse Jackson Jr. level curiosity when it comes to his campaign spending. I'm not saying Bruce Lee and Michael Jackson memorabilia, but I am saying like hundreds of thousands of dollars in reimbursements and payments to a particular business in his district. He's like the LaSalle, Grundy County area.
Okay.
And it just never went anywhere. I had forgotten he was the Auditor General because why wouldn't I? But anyway, he knows a scheme when he sees one, and he found this one at IDS, $5 billion with a B. Martino's office reported a year ago, you may remember, that fraudsters stole about $2 billion from the state's unemployment assistance program in July of 2020, from July of 2020 through June of 2021. So, I mean, I know competence is not like a big deal here, and I know your money is not important to you here, and I know that I mean, the majority, not most of the listeners of this show, but the majority, it doesn't matter, and you genuflect before the incredible executive talent that is Jelly Belly Pritzker. $2 billion stolen, $5 billion in overpayments. More money for our schools. More money for this. More money for that.
More money for criminals.
$2 billion stolen, $5 billion in fraudulent or excessive claims over the past 2 years. And boy, that's interesting too. Let's see, $2 billion, $7 billion. And when that happened? Oh, in the run up to his reelection. Mistakes were made. Happy mistakes were made to distribute largesse, other people's money, illicitly to
inspire people to go to the polls to vote for him.
Well, to not even inspire, to my constituents. Hey, stick with me, folks.
I got you.
Yeah, that looks. That sizes up. That looks good enough. Sure, green light that payment and that payment and $5 billion more of those payments. I know. Again, it's not animating. These are big numbers, and Illinois and Chicago are corrupt enterprises, and so it's just more of the same. But I don't know. I still feel compelled to address it, talk about it. Don't you? In other news, since it's the right, it's right-wing extremists, white supremacists like me prosecuting the culture war. legislation signed this week by Jelly Belly, Senate Bill 1909 to be specific, is an attack on pregnancy crisis centers, pro-life pregnancy crisis centers around the state. So it's not enough for Illinois to be the abortion capital of the Midwest. It's not enough to promote abortion tourism. You also have to do your best under dubious color of law to stifle out not pro-life advocacy groups in the sense that advocacy is their core mission. These are not political operations. They're pregnancy care centers. In other words, they provide care for women and children and extended families who decide they want to go through with their pregnancy and have their child, but don't have the necessary support network and resources to do so. They're afraid. They're in precarious positions. Well, marketing those services. I have a pregnancy care center. I want people to know I have a pregnancy care center. So if you or anyone you know would like to avail themselves of our services, we provide ultrasounds, we provide resources, both psychological in terms of counseling and so on and so forth, financial in terms of counseling, as well as shelter in some cases, like aid for women, clothes, baby food, diapers, so on and so forth. I want people to know about this. Well, you can be fined up to $50,000 if you let people know.
What?
Yeah, that's right. As Peter Breen explained, Thomas More Society, Pregnancy Help Ministries provide real options and assistance to women and families in need, but instead of the praise they deserve, pro-abortion politicians are targeting these ministries with $50,000 fines and injunctions, enjoining them from doing business, solely because of their pro-life viewpoint. And he has filed suit to seeking an injunction against the implementation of this bill by Attorney General Kwame Raoul. So there's $5 billion in fraud. These are your top lines from the week that was in Illinois. You want to fold in the most aggressive no cash bail law in the country, and we could say the last 2 weeks in Illinois. $5 billion in fraud, an attempt, and I think unconstitutional, to extinguish pregnancy care centers, prosecuting the culture war. Some of you Vichy Republicans may want to take judicial notice of this. Oh, and by the way, in Chicago, don't think BLM Brandon doesn't want to get in on the act. Alice Yin, who apparently is a Mary Schmeek impersonator.
Oh, Mary Schmeek.
You would like her.
Wear sunscreen.
Her Twitter profile.
Yeah.
She covers City Hall. I remember when adults used to cover City Hall, like John Cass.
What's her profile? What?
It's her with a kitten.
Oh, meow meow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she doesn't have a husband or a boyfriend or many friends, and she takes to the kitty.
I could understand why. It's the question is
Right.
cause and effect.
I know.
Yeah. Which direction? Which
Yeah.
came first?
Mm.
Brandon Johnson is moving forward with that real estate transfer tax. It would appear that real estate transfer tax increase on homes over $1 million, right?
Because he wants to help subsidize homeless shelters.
I'll tell you what. I got a
Well,
better
that's
idea.
what he says the money is going to be.
Well,
for.
cut out the middleman. Just
do you mean?
seize the homes and make them homeless
there
shelters.
You go. Yeah.
And this is going to be put on the ballot. Apparently, they're going to move to put this on the ballot. And just so you know, if you own $1 million home in Chicago,
Bye-bye.
I
would sell now before it goes
right.
into effect, obviously. I would sell now before the city income tax becomes a real thing, even though that's got to be approved by state legislatures down in Springfield. But it's a thing, folks. So, and again, because you explained this, you have to file federal income tax, state income tax, and then a city income tax. And if you make $500,000, you got to cut a check for $15,000, boom, to the city.
If that comes to pass.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't.
If that comes to pass. And if it's...
That's on his list.
Well, yeah, and if it would be 3%. But these are all, imponderables. Well, they're not imponderable. They're out there. And, again,
He
a
said
city...
he wanted 3%.
During the campaign. A city income tax, hardly unprecedented. New York has one.
Right.
Philadelphia has one.
We talked to Steve Malinga yesterday about it. St. Louis.
Just so on the $1 million, just for those of you fortunate enough to have him, or unfortunate enough to have $1 million home in
Yeah,
Chicago.
tell us what it means.
You think it's $1 million home. It just was reduced in value, just downgraded again. So the idea, because was floated during the triple threat years, instead of 3 points, it's like with property taxes, that is a negative multiplier. You have to add an exponent to that in terms of its reduction and the actual value of the home.
And I would love to see where that money is actually going to go. They say it's going to go to help the homeless. Do the homeless want to be helped?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to ask, because
Okay.
wherever the money goes,
Yes.
it's going to be good. It's going to be put to good use. That's what we know.
Okay.
So the details are not important.
Thanks. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I cannot pass up an opportunity to comment when DHS Secretary Ali Mayorkas testifies before a House committee or a Senate committee, for that matter, any committee. If he speaks at all in public, I cannot pass up an opportunity to comment on it. So we will at 5:38.
And the lights are going out on Broadway. We'll explain. But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Heavy storms, hot weather slamming the Chicago area again today. Heat index values up near 100 once the heavy storms pass through this morning. Former President Donald Trump facing more charges in the midst of his ongoing indictment for mishandling classified documents. Former commander-in-chief being charged with additional counts of willful retention of national defense information and 2 new obstruction counts. Republican Congresswoman Claudine Tenney of New York says she thinks the former president is being selectively prosecuted.
I just think people are looking at this as like, how is this fair? Why aren't they going aggressively after Hunter Biden? And what we heard is that the DOJ was actually kind of in cahoots with Hunter Biden in court yesterday in this big plea deal agreement that blew up.
Yeah.
So isn't the DOJ supposed to represent the American people?
Former President Trump arguing he's only being targeted because he's the leading Republican candidate right now for 2024. The Justice Department is launching a civil rights investigation into claims the Memphis Police Department used excessive force against African Americans. The probe announced Thursday comes 7 months after the police beating death by African American officers of Tyree Nichols. Texas Republican Michael McCaul says the 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan was a mistake of epic proportions.
During a House hearing on the military pullout from Afghanistan on Thursday, McCaul said President Biden ignored warnings from his own generals and intel community about what was happening on the ground. He vowed to hold people accountable for the operation. The Taliban rapidly took over the country following the U.S. exit. A suicide bombing at the Kabul airport killed 13 U.S. service members. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Bud Light maker Anheuser-Busch is laying off hundreds after the recent fallout of a boycott against its partnership with a transgender influencer, nearly 2% of its workforce in St. Louis. 6 are injured, a 7th missing after a boat hits a break wall and overturns in Lake Michigan near Navy Pier this morning. Chicago Fire Department tells us 6 have been transported to Stroger and Northwest Memorial Hospitals, 1 in critical condition. A community meeting held last night discussing the possibility of turning the Broadway Armory into an illegal immigrant shelter. The Johnson administration's Beatriz Ponce de Leon took heavy flack from Northside residents.
It is hard for us to repurpose space, but it is a time that we're living right now where we need to repurpose space.
Edgewater resident Laura Chamberlain wants to know why the building was chosen with other options easily available.
1,600 people of our community at-risk kids come every week. Why would you do that? And why would you not? There's 5 empty churches in our area.
A federal judge is rejecting a lawsuit over Illinois' law regarding mail-in ballots. It was a suit filed by Southern Illinois Congressman Republican Mike Bost and other GOP officials who sought to block the state from allowing mail-in ballots to be counted up to 2 weeks after Election Day. The judge added in his opinion that the law complied with federal election law. A derailment of an Amtrak train in Montana that killed 3 in 2021 was caused by poor track conditions at the accident site. You may recall Amtrak's Empire Builder derailed at the end of September 2021 in northern Montana, en route from Chicago to Seattle. That voice, Randy Meisner of the Eagles. One of the only songs he actually sang lead on. Randy Meisner dead at the age of 77. The band announcing the news Thursday night, revealing he passed away due to complications from COPD. In their announcement, they remember Meisner as an integral part of the Eagles and their early success as a band. The humble Midwest guy was also a bassist for the band Poco before success with the Eagles and several other bands. Randy Meisner, dead at the age of 77. Cubs rattle off 14 hits in a 10-3 rout of St. Louis, while Cleveland downed the White Sox 6-3. The news, a service of MyPillow. MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows, now $19.98 with promo code Liberty. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains extreme arrogance.
This is very important. This is the arrogance of the left in a nutshell. We will come up with a new idea for what a policeman should do. And our idea will be better.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
This is Mike Gallagher. Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Dennis Prager and I are traveling to the Holy Land on the Stand With Israel tour with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. This is a trip of a lifetime. You don't want to miss it. Register today before it's too late. Visit standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519, 855-565-5519. And together, let's stand with Israel.
If you speed, there are lots of sounds that you might hear, like the sound of your vehicle crashing, because eventually, speeding catches up with you.
5:40, time to check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And we'll start on the Kennedy. Solid traffic due to an accident inbound between Irving Park and Sacramento. The Ike outbound, an accident, 2 right lanes blocked between North Avenue and York Road. Bishop Ford, stop-and-go jam-ups between 115th and the Dan Ryan. 8094, an accident, 2 right lanes blocked eastbound at Grant. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Temperatures could top out near 97 this afternoon. Hot and humid, and we'll have a return to strong afternoon thunderstorms as well. A couple of strong storms could hit overnight as well. Otherwise, cloudy and humid, low 71, and beautiful cool air pours in over the weekend. High of 80 tomorrow and a high of 79 on Sunday. 74 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
You know, this show isn't for everybody. If you're not interested in the truth, if you're not interested in having a conversation on the merits, then don't listen to this show.
On AM 560.
Because there's no place for you here.
The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. DHS Secretary Ali Mayorkas, it is always a joy when he testifies before a congressional committee. The other day, he was before the House Judiciary Committee talking about, he was being queried about mainly the DHS's effort to censor content with which it disagrees. His feeble protestations notwithstanding. We've got the files. Jim Jordan tweeting out internal emails from Facebook where, for example, a Facebook employee circulated an email for Facebook CEO Zuckerberg, COO Sheryl Sandberg at the time, writing, quote, "We are facing continued pressure from external stakeholders, including the White House, the Biden White House, to remove posts." That was April 21st of 2021. They also mentioned in here about pressure to remove, quote, "often true content," unquote. True, but inconvenient. Malinformation is the term that they use.
Oh, that's what they use?
Malinformation.
It's the truth they didn't like. Okay.
Correct.
To put it in street terms, folks.
And Jordan and Schellenberger are circulating the emails. So this is not really much in controversy. By the way, there was also an injunction issued by a Louisiana federal district court judge in the Missouri v. Biden case that we've talked about before that involves the whole alphabet soup of federal agencies putting their thumb on social media companies to remove posts or sideline individuals, posters altogether, with whom they disagree, with what or whom they disagree. So he was asked about that. But first, this is
everyone's got to hear this.
Mike Johnson, who's a congressman from Louisiana, as luck would have it. Before we even got to the question, he just gave us a bit of a summary of the record of one Ali Mayorkas. And remember, not only is the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, he's a former U.S. attorney. So it also sort of speaks to what you're talking about, who you're talking about when you're thinking about the hallowed Department of Justice. The Ali Mayorkas record is brought to you by Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Louisiana.
Secretary Mayorkas, we have the frustrating responsibility on this committee of providing oversight of your agency, but I have to be honest and tell you I'm not sure exactly what you do at the Department of Homeland Security other than great harm. On your watch, the data is pretty clear. We've had record levels of illegal immigration, a rapid decline in deportations, skyrocketing fentanyl deaths across our country, and the Secret Service, which is a DHS component, can't determine who left cocaine at the White House. In the middle of all this, you created this Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA, which is a division of DHS. And it's one of the Biden administration agencies that colluded with and coerced the social media companies to censor Americans' protected free speech online.
That's quite a record he's assembled. And to that last part, this agency put together the misinformation, disinformation board. Let's just use that handle so we didn't get into subcommittees and acronyms. That you remember that they had to pretend at least to sideline after there was all this scrutiny of the person that just of the concept in general, then also of the person that he was going to tap to be the executive director of this internal misinformation, disinformation star chamber. So here's Mayorkas responding, and then Mayorkas and Johnson go back and forth about this. We have a a federal district court judge finding a fact DHS did do this. We have emails, internal emails, and the Twitter files that implicate FBI, DOJ, Biden White House, DHS.
The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency does not censor speech.
Okay, well, that's the court found otherwise, and it's really curious to me. Actually, it's quite alarming that you haven't read the opinion, because your agency is listed in this opinion. The federal court looked at volumes of evidence over months of litigation, and they determined, among other things, that if the allegations made by the plaintiffs, the states in this case, are true, and hold on, the preliminary injunction was granted against your agency, sir, and other Biden administration agencies, including the DOJ and FBI, the court said it involves the most massive attack against free speech in United States history. And you're telling me this opinion issued July 4th has not reached your desk? No one's briefed you on it?
Oh, I have been briefed on the Missouri litigation.
Okay, but you haven't taken the time to read it yet.
Congressman,
no, hold on. Have you read it or not?
I have read parts of it, Congressman.
Oh, parts of it. Did you read the parts where it said that this is Orwellian and dystopian and that your agency is involved in a massive cover-up of specifically conservatives' free speech online?
Congressman, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency is not involved in such conduct.
Okay, well, the court found otherwise, and you stand here under oath and you give us these answers that we know are not true because this is demonstrably untrue. I'm suggesting to you that you're saying things to us under oath that are proven by the record to be untrue.
Just in that exchange, you didn't catch, we didn't have the first part there, but he was asked if he read the opinion. No, I have not read the opinion. Then he said, you haven't read the opinion. Well, I've been briefed on it. Oh, well, have you read any of it? Yeah, I've read some of it.
Parts of it, yeah.
So I haven't read the opinion. I have been briefed on it, and I've read some of it. That's 60 seconds. I mean, this guy is incredible. Does the Misinformation Disinformation Board that was supposedly scuttled, does that still exist?
CISA was created to, we call it the Misinformation and Disinformation Subcommittee of CISA. You familiar with that? MDM, the MDM subcommittee, you're familiar with that?
Congressman, I am very well aware of the threat of disinformation emanating from adverse nations.
Are you familiar with the subcommittee? Just answer the question.
I am.
Okay. Does it still exist?
Congressman, are you speaking of the...
Does the MDM subcommittee still exist?
I would have to get back to you on that.
Okay. All right. Kind of a big deal in your agency, I'm sure.
I mean, it literally is. I was watching this, and I couldn't help but think of Diego and the Doctor. That's what this is. Mayorkas and any professional asking him questions, it's like Diego and the Doctor.
Do you smoke?
No.
You sure?
No.
You're not sure?
I mean, I occasionally have like a cigarette or like a joint or crack.
It's a yes or no question, Diego.
Okay, yes.
Do you drink?
No.
Are you sure?
I mean, like casually, like at a party or a wedding or something like that, you know, or at like my house, alone, every night.
What do you drink?
Just like a glass of wine at dinner.
Okay, that's healthy.
And then a shot of tequila.
Okay.
And then another shot. And then a few more. And then some more. And then I usually pass out. Then I wake up and I take a few more.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah, I drink.
Do you take any drugs?
No.
Are you sure?
I mean, like, occasionally I'll smoke a little weed here and there. Like, I'll do a little blow at a party. Some shrooms. Nothing crazy.
Yes or no?
Yes, I take drugs.
Any prescription pills or over-the-counter medicine?
No.
You sure?
I mean, like, I take, like, Advil, Motrin, Tylenol, stuff like that.
How often?
Every time my wife talks to me.
Why?
Because I know it's going to give me a headache.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Diego, are you a stressed person?
Me? No, not at all.
How's your wife?
Okay, I'm stressed.
You engaging in sexual activity?
No.
You sure?
I mean, like, occasionally, like, on our anniversary, stuff like that.
And this activity is with your wife? Well, whoever you're having sex with, are you using protection?
I don't like guns.
I mean a condom.
Oh, yes.
Are you sure?
I mean, there are exceptions.
How many exceptions?
I can't remember.
Why can't you remember?
Because I drink.
Why do you drink?
Because I'm stressed.
And what do you do when you're stressed?
Prescription drugs.
And what causes the stress?
My wife.
It says it's like the intersection of Hunter Biden and Ali Mayorkas, Diego and the Doctor. But getting back to the serious, I mean, if you can consider a conversation with Ali Mayorkas serious, which you really can't, but the Misinformation Disinformation Board that may or may not still exist, we don't know because he doesn't know. Well, they get back to Congressman Johnson and Mayorkas, get back to this issue of what exactly does the DHS, what are you saying the DHS does if it doesn't censor? Despite what a court has essentially held, by the way, as you'll hear him point out, this was not disputed by the government's lawyers in the Missouri v. Biden case, even though the litigation is pending. So what exactly is it you do over there at DHS if you don't censor?
Who determines what is false?
Congressman, our focus.
No, who determines what is false in your agency? If you're going to pull something off the internet and collude with a social media platform to make sure Americans don't see it, who determines what's false?
Congressman, we don't do that.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not what the court has found. This is not a Republican talking point. This is what the documents show. We've had people testify under oath that say, and you just defined the term, you're telling me that you don't know who determines what is false?
Congressman, what we do at CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, is identify the tactics that adverse nation states use to weaponize disinformation.
Okay, what is disinformation? What is disinformation?
Disinformation is inaccurate information.
Who determines what's inaccurate? Who determines what's false? Do you understand the problem here? The reason the framers of our Constitution did not create an exception for quote-unquote false information from the First Amendment is because they didn't trust the government to determine what it is. And you have whole committees of people in your agency trying to determine what they define as false or misinformation.
That is not true.
Well, then what is true?
Please
enlighten us.
What we do is we disclose the tactics that adverse nation states are utilizing to weaponize information.
No, sir. The court found specifically, it's a finding of fact that is not disputed by the government defendants, the Biden administration, your agency, the FBI, or DHS, not in the litigation. They determined you and all of your cohorts made no distinction between domestic speech and foreign speech. So don't stand there and tell me under oath that you only focused on adversaries around the world, foreign actors. That's not true.
Congressman, the Missouri case, the litigation to which you refer, is the subject of continuing litigation.
But the facts were not disputed, and I so
wish I had more time.
He is the definition of a mimbo.
Former U.S. attorney. You're talking about a former U.S. attorney.
I don't care.
Something else. Something to take away from that too. With his, we only investigate tactics, and Johnson was trying to get to this. Well, you investigate the tactics of adverse nations who engage in misinformation. Well, if you don't make a determination about what's misinformation, then how do you work backwards and say these are the tactics they use to produce and distribute this? That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. It's completely illogical. But the parsing, the impossible parsing that somebody like Mayorkas does is an example of the cover stories they use to frankly infringe upon people's rights in this country, the rights of American citizens. So it's comical, except the implications not so funny. And there's nothing funny about Ali Mayorkas being in a position like the Department of Homeland Security.
How he got that job, I'll never know.
Well, I think you see how he got that job. Is there are, those that were essentially rounding up the personnel, the Obama veterans of the Jobama years, first two terms. They like their idiots, and they like them to be useful, and they like them to be cabinet secretaries.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Tune into Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns every Saturday at noon on AM 560 The Answer. Certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns holds weekly discussions of the financial challenges to a secure retirement. Learn about planning strategies and solutions that proactive investors utilize to help make continued progress toward retirement goals. Call with questions at 800-640-2256 or visit tjstearns.com. Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns, Saturdays at noon, here on AM 560 The Answer.
Retirement planning can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Tune in to Retirement and Income Radio, hosted by well-known Chicagoland financial educator Mark Kohler. Mark helps listeners in or near retirement protect their savings from market volatility while creating lifetime guaranteed income. Listen to Retirement and Income Radio Sunday afternoons at 3:30 on AM 560 The Answer, or call Mark now at 844-619-SAFE.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Saw the ad and we thought we would give it a try. And I noticed after the first month we had more energy and we just felt better. I told my doctor too, and she said, this sounds like a really good, healthy product for you to be taking. We plan to take it for life.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. Get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This limited time offer ends July 31st. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Raj Shah, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
You know, there are a lot of clients and people coming in from the radio into our office saying, I don't want to lose any money. I need to protect the money I have saved over the last 20 or 30 years, where you have strategies where you can structure an income stream where it has an inflation protection so that as inflation, if it continues to go up, your income will go up.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Who'll be first past the post in 2024 to stave off the Hoosgow, Trump or Biden? 606.
And later, where are the kids to go? We'll explain. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Copa says a CPD officer accidentally shot a fellow officer on the south side. 2 are hurt in a DeKalb County plane crash. Federal judge drops a lawsuit over mail-in ballots. Loretto hospital workers are prepared to strike on Monday. A desperate Chicago mayor has a Hail Mary meeting with the Bears. Cubs hammer the Cardinals, White Sox fall to Cleveland, and temps up near 100 today. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
Former President Trump charged yet again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
It's so brazen right now what they're doing. It is really a subversion of the rule of law. I mean, they're taking the rule of law, turning it on its head.
Republican Senator Josh Hawley reacting to the charges added to the classified documents case against the former president.
One more count of willful retention of national defense information and 2 new obstruction counts. That's in addition to the pre-existing counts of conspiracy, false statements, and destroying documents, bringing that grand total to 41 criminal charges with the possibility of 140 years behind bars.
Fox's Brooks Singman. An additional charge also filed against Trump aide Walt Nauta. And there's a new defendant. The former president's accused of asking a staffer at his Florida resort to delete security footage, and now Carlos de Oliveira is charged with obstruction of justice. The 2024 Republican frontrunner tells Fox this is election interference at the highest level. And he posted on social media what happened to the documents case against President Biden, who's still being investigated. This as House Republicans keep probing if the president's involved in Hunter Biden's business dealings. He claims he's not. Congresswoman Nancy Mace just told Fox Business,
this will go down as one of the most politically corrupt presidents and families in U.S. history. And we've got to show and prove it to the American people. We've got to show them everything that we have.
It'll be another very hot summer day. Excessive heat warnings or advisories up from Arkansas to Minnesota, over to New England, down to North Carolina. In Phoenix, the high today could top 110 degrees for a record 29th straight day.
The Maricopa County Health Department says 7 more heat-related deaths have occurred, and they've now confirmed 25 heat-associated deaths for the year, with nearly 250 additional deaths under investigation as possibly heat-related.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Most of those deaths associated with people outdoors. A third of them are homeless. More than half involve drug use. America's listening to Fox News. 74 degrees. At 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning.
I'm Mike Scott. Heavy storms crossing the area this morning, dumping rain, lots of lightning, but no severe weather that we have seen in the general Chicago area, down in Vermilion County and Iroquois County. We're seeing wind gusts of up to 80 miles an hour. As you approach central Illinois, a heat advisory will be in effect for much of this day. 6 are injured, a 7th missing after a boat hit a break wall.
Repurpose space, but it is a time that we're living right now where we need to repurpose space.
The Park District is looking at ways to abandon programs at their armory, including summer camps for kids as well as seniors. The latest meeting follows Wednesday's immigrant and refugee rights meeting at City Hall. 2 are hurt after a small plane crashed in DeKalb County. The single-engine Cessna went down yesterday behind a business in Cortland, about a mile from the airport. A pilot and passenger were sent to a nearby hospital. A 14-year-old boy has been criminally charged in 7 different armed robberies that occurred in less than 1 hour on Tuesday on the near South Side. The boy faces 12 felony counts of armed robbery with a firearm, 1 misdemeanor count of criminal trespass. That teen was arrested after being identified as the offender who took that property. One of the most popular and charismatic players in the history of the Chicago Bears is one step closer to Canton. On Thursday afternoon, the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced that Steve McMichael is one of 12 players in the seniors category that have moved on to the next round of voting. Team owner Virginia McCaskey, also a semifinalist, was not selected to move on. Cubs rout the Cardinals 10-3. Cleveland down the White Sox 6-3. The news, a service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr. Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk says the left is playing for keeps.
These are extra-constitutional organizations, efforts underway to stop you from having a voice. They detest you. They hate you. You're a Christian if you're a plumber. If you work with your hands, if you're an ordinary American, they hate your values. They hate everything you stand for, and they are playing for keeps. The 2024 election, they are playing for keeps.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Greetings, Sebastian Gorka here. For years, I've mentioned how much Relief Factor has helped the pain in my lower back. Gary from Ohio shared his experience too. He writes, I tried Relief Factor due to its botanical ingredients to reduce pain in my shoulder, knee, and lower back. After just a few weeks, the knee pain was completely gone, and the shoulder and back pain were reduced quite a bit. I can now exercise much more comfortably and practically pain-free. Thank you, Relief Factor. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more, so it looks like a lot of people are thanking Relief Factor. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing. Your first step to becoming pain-free should be to order the 3-week quick start at the reduced price of $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor. relieffactor.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Within 3 days of starting it, I noticed a big difference in my energy level. Like I was able to take the dog for a walk to the mailbox. It made a tremendous difference, and I don't take daily naps anymore. I can pin it down to 3 full days on, and on the 4th day, it was like I was a new person. Even my friends have noticed my energy level is different.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. Get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This limited time offer ends July 31st. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
6:07 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. On the Edens 23 Lake Cook Road to the junction, Kennedy inbound still bothered by the earlier storms. 57 O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange. And an earlier accident still causing delays, even though it's out of your way, between Montrose and Sacramento. The Ike, right now 36 in from 390 to the old post office. Stevenson 34, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Veterans Memorial has an accident, 2 left lanes blocked northbound on 355 just after 63rd. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A heat advisory this afternoon through the evening. Some sun and maybe a shower and thunderstorm for the afternoon. Could be a strong one. Damaging wind, flash flooding, hail, high 98. Strong thunderstorms this evening, low 71. Partly sunny, nice day tomorrow, the high 80. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Right now, 74 at O'Hare, 75 Lakefront, 72 in Aurora. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, new developments, both for Trump's legal cases as well as for Biden Incorporated. Where would you care to start?
You know, let's get Trump out of the way because there's so many different balls in the air right now when it comes to his legal world. That this one surrounds documents at Mar-a-Lago, correct?
Well, that's part of it. I mean, we also have conflicting reports that Trump's lawyers were advised he's going to be charged in connection with January 6th, the election of 2020, and Trump saying no, there was no indication given by Jack Smith that that is the case. So I expect he will be. I mean, that's certainly what you would think is happening based on the reporting on Smith's activities, the
Subway
special
man,
counsel.
Jack Smith.
So that's a conflicting report.
Okay.
We don't know. We also know that they're still moving forward in Fulton County, Georgia, with a possible, I would say, probable indictment there. Because why not? At this point, why not pile on? That's certainly the attitude of the left, it seems to me. And they're piling on in the classified docs case. The property manager at Mar-a-Lago, Carlos de Oliveira, was charged with a number of counts: conspiracy to obstruct justice, altering, destroying, mutilating, or concealing an object, corruptly altering, destroying, mutilating, or concealing a document or record or other object, and making false statements to investigators. You know, the typical, he faces 65 years convicted on these. But anyway, he's the property manager at Mar-a-Lago, and essentially,
some video camera or some.
Essentially, he claims that he doesn't claim anything. The government is claiming that the boss. So we have the big guy and we have the boss. All right, let's keep track of the handles. The big guy and the boss. So we know who the big guy is, Mr. 10%, President Biden. The boss wanted the server deleted. When a worker that De Oliveira told, security worker, the boss wants the server deleted, that would eliminate the security footage that the government was allegedly seeking. Only the worker that De Oliveira spoke with, only a security supervisor could do that. He repeated, did the man charged, the property manager. The boss has made the request and asked the employee, what are we going to do? After the exchange with the IT worker, De Oliveira walked through the bushes on the perimeter of Mar-a-Lago to meet with Walt Nauta, the other guy under indictment in this case. He met with him twice on a neighboring property, returning to the resort's IT office in between. Then he met with, it's unclear how much, this is New York Post reporting, it's unclear how much footage, or if any footage, was actually deleted from the server. In a filing last month, prosecutors revealed they had obtained both complete copies of closed-circuit television footage, CCTV footage, and key excerpts from the cameras. So, they're alleging a scheme to destroy evidence and obstruct justice. But it's unclear if any evidence was destroyed, it would seem.
Right. That's why I don't trust anything anymore.
The new indictment also charges Trump with the retention of an Iran attack plan he shared at Bedminster 2021 with writers who were working on a biography of Mark Meadows. We've discussed that. We discussed that with respect to the original indictment in the classified docs case. And it's unclear that they have the document that he allegedly shared.
Well, that would be a problem.
I would think. So I don't know. There's been a lot of comparisons being made to Hillary Clinton wiping her server. You mean like with a cloth, right? So Hillary Clinton hammers phones and a server. Donald Trump directs his underlings, the allegation is, to wipe the contents of a server for the security cameras at Mar-a-Lago after these document requests are made by federal investigators. And so those are similar. So if you didn't like what Hillary did, then you can't like what Trump is alleged to have done, right? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
But I mean, there's such a witch hunt after Trump that I don't even believe anything that's filed. I just don't believe that. I mean, how do we know that anything was wiped or erased, any videotapes were erased? I mean, they say it, and the allegations, but I don't trust them, and I don't believe them.
Well,
Not
okay.
a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I mean,
I need more.
You're right to question their credibility. They're making allegations. They have to present evidence to support those allegations, circumstantial at minimum. But, I mean, if it's true that he's having people move boxes around to avoid complying with legitimate discovery requests or subpoenas, more powerfully, then and if he's directing people to, maybe just out of just wipe the server clean, eliminate all the security footage, just so even if there's nothing particularly incriminating, just doing it, it's still potentially problematic legally. So just for a second, assume that it's true.
Okay.
Then what do we do about it? I mean, I guess everybody could petition the big guy to pardon both baby boy Hunter and Trump.
Oh, yeah,
and just reset the table.
Well, I just think it's fascinating because President Biden is doing everything in his power to keep his son out of jail while trying to keep his political opponent or put him into jail.
Well, right. Well, what's confusing about that?
No, I don't think he's going to pardon his son. At least that's what they said yesterday. That's not going to happen, according to KJP.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. I just answered.
No.
I just answered.
Well, he may be saving that pardon for himself.
312-642-5600. You can also reach us all morning long on this lovely text line that I monitor all the time, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Jason in North Lake, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, guys. It's been a while. How you guys all doing today?
Good.
Excellent. So here's my take on Trump, is that we all know that they've been looking for any little thing to get him on for his entire presidency. So to go and give the government the rope to which they're going to hang you with is just foolish, in my opinion. I mean, this whole thing with the classified documents, just hand them over when they ask for it. He's literally just created this particular problem all by himself, And that's why, in my opinion, I mean, granted, if he gets the Republican nomination, I'll still vote for him. But I just don't have that faith in him anymore that I did when he first came out, because it's just all about him, and he's just constantly doing stuff that is just going to hurt himself in the long run, and it doesn't help us.
Thanks for the call, Jason. Good comments. I think that's fair. I think that's more than fair. The whole thing, the classified documents thing, to me, I gotta say, it just gets more so with each passing allegation. Again, I'm not stipulating to the truth of these allegations because I have the same skepticism of DOJ and this guy Jack Smith as you do, Amy. But the whole thing is just so asinine.
Such a waste of energy.
What are you doing? You have nobody around you to check you.
Right.
That you listen to. You know, if there was a problem, I mean, just go back to origin stories here. If there was a fight between you and National Archives about documents you should or shouldn't be able to keep, you know what you do? Go public. Use the media. Have you noticed the media pays attention to every utterance from your mouth and it becomes a national discussion? So go to them and say, go to the press and say, hey, you know, all these presidents got to keep these documents. I'm getting shaken down by the National Archives because they don't want me to have documents that are properly my personal records, and just fight it out in the public arena. Fight it out there. Bring it out into the open. When you do things in an allegedly skullduggerous manner, and then you try to essentially cover your tracks, allegedly, I mean, you dig the hole deeper. It's just so sloppy and silly. If any bit of what the government alleges in this classified documents case is true, I'm just speaking specifically of this case, not generally. I'm not talking about Manhattan. I'm not talking about J6th. I'm not talking about Fulton County. I'm talking about this. It's so unnecessary. And so, again, here's the balance. Here's the Hobbesian choice almost. You have this successful president who has the ability to marshal a significant percentage of the American people to put pressure on a political system that operates against their interests, and to perhaps deliver the reckoning that so many of these institutions and their power structures deserve, including DOJ and FBI. You have this. But you also have these forays into idiocy like this classified documents case. And I understand we want to go back and forth. We've been talking about this for some time now, to the Barack Obama's dock warehouse in Hoffman Estates, or to the obvious comparison, right? The Biden docks in the Corvette and in the phony think tank at University of Penn and anywhere and everywhere. And Pence has them in his house, and God knows how many senators have them and how many. I get it. But that doesn't excuse the just colossal errors in judgment in this case by the former president, in my view. Dave, formerly of Elgin, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how's it going? Didn't the FBI want the cameras turned off and everything erased for their excursion at Mar-a-Lago?
You mean the raid? When they raided Mar-a-Lago? Oh,
Remember?
Yeah, they wanted the
turn the camera when they were in the compound. Turn the cameras off.
They wanted everything erased while they were there.
I got to double check on that. That may be. I don't remember, honestly. Thanks for the call, Dave. I'll double check on that.
They put on social media classified documents that they seized that they threw on the floor. Thought we were supposed to see
right,
those.
and they wouldn't allow Trump representatives to be present as they're doing their searching through the compound and so on and so forth. So I mean, it stands to reason that they say, well, and you can't film what we're doing either, so turn the cameras off. But I mean, they still subpoenaed the security footage, and the report is that the security footage was good for 45 days. So whatever you have that's archival footage, you turn over, right? Monica Lyle.
Yeah, hi. Last week or so, I called and I made the comment that Trump was set up, and I was just wondering, was there any evidence? And I thought I heard this on the 5, but something about the security footage being shut down when the FBI was on site looking at the coming in and doing the raid.
Yeah, that's thanks for the call, Monica.
They
That's
might not want the agent's pictures or video.
well, right. So
captured on video their faces. I don't know.
like I said, I don't want to speak off the cuff because I can't remember what we have in terms of details about the raid and what's been substantiated about what the FBI did or didn't do. But let's just say that's true. Turn the security cameras off. We're conducting the search. Turn the security cameras off does not erase the server, number one. And number two, if they had said, erase the server, well, that would be exculpatory.
Right.
So if when they subpoena your records, you say the FBI directed me or representatives to erase the server, and I mean, then I don't know how you would charge in this case if you had evidence, if anybody had evidence that the FBI had made that demand. So my sense is just logically here, my sense is that the FBI may have said, turn off the security cameras while we do the search, but that's not delete all the archival footage. Two different things.
Got a great text message. Dan and Amy, they're trying to come up with a collusion, and they need more people, hence the maintenance man.
Well, I mean, again, they're memorializing specific alleged conversations and alleged actions by this Carlos de Oliveira along with Walt Nauta. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Trump is obviously not doing what is alleged if he did it by himself. He's not, doing the heavy lifting, moving 60 boxes around and so on and so forth. So you're going to have staff that is involved. But just going back, take it publicly, and you know who should be writing point here when it involves legal matters? Not you, the client, President Trump. Your lawyers. That's why you have them. You deal with archives. You deal with FBI. And again, I know he's made conflicting statements, alleged to make conflicting statements that conflict with this characterization, like, give them whatever they want. I know there was an assertion that he had said that at some point. You have to put together this timeline in excruciating detail. But why are you the only guy making decisions here and doing it off the cuff in sort of flying blind in terms of your understanding of the law to a certain extent? I know he's been through enough litigation to have some working knowledge of the law and how this works, and certainly his 4 years as president and going through the Russian collusion witch hunt, that gave him a real insight into how DOJ and FBI work as well. But still, there is this element of him and the way he operates. I don't think that really can be disputed, that he is reckless and he is not detail-oriented, and he rides point when he shouldn't ride point. Or he rides point in an arena where he shouldn't ride point. Legal arena, lawyers.
But he wants
Public
to be
arena, Trump.
narcissistic. I mean, he wants to be the front man on anything, and that's what he has to learn to be disciplined. But might be a little too late. Real quick text message. All of this, and yet no security footage of the cocaine incident.
That's the unsolvable crime.
No one will ever know.
Yeah,
It's
unsolvable
got to be
crime.
hunters. He's got to stay off drugs in order to,
He hasn't touched a drug
Keep-
since 2019, he says.
Okay, well.
George in
right.
Naperville. I still say Janet Yellen.
Yeah, I think part of his thinking
Man
is
with
why
the dog.
can't I slide by with this stuff? Everybody else is. I mean, example Hillary, and I just feel he feels like why don't I get the same, same freedoms?
I know.
Because he's the ultimate outsider, and they didn't want him there in the first place. And they're so threatened by him that they keep going indictment after indictment, and we have 4 different investigations going.
Thanks for the call,
They're not
George.
going to let this end.
Yeah, but if that's his thinking, that is grade school quality thinking. Everybody else is sliding by, so I can slide by? What? I understand. You've heard on the show, I'm not disputing the 2 systems of justice based on your political beliefs. And, Trump is at the top of the exhibits entered into evidence. But other people slid by so I can do things my own way in sort of a blithe indifference to the law. Come on. We all know better than that. David in Winnetka.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Friday. 2 things. The first thing is this whole thing is getting so bizarre. The only players that's missing is Kato Kalin and OJ. Pretty soon they'll be coming after Trump for Trump is the killer.
They were. I said the best story I saw on that. Speaking of like how grotesque this gets.
Yeah.
The guy accused of being that serial killer, Gilgo Beach guy.
Right.
He was once. His firm was once. He's an architect. Was once hired by the Trump organization to do the drawings for some aspect of a development. So I think Trump could be indicted as a co-conspirator in the Gilgo Beach murders too before this is said and done. That literally was a story. Like, well, so what does that mean? Who cares? So he's responsible. It's just that's the media. But anyway, go ahead, David. Sorry.
It's ludicrous. And the other point I disagree with the first caller and you about the way he's handling it. He's always been balls to the wall with everything. Look a bully in the face, look him in the eye, and just move forward. He wasn't worried about what they were going to do to him. He was worried about what they were going to do to us. And I think he knows he's not going to get a fair shake either way. So he might as well go down with his conviction because that's what it's going to be. And I think that's the American patriotic way.
All right, David. Thanks for the call. Jim, Crown Point.
Trump's biggest mistake, he was a businessman. He didn't have a consigliere. He had nobody guiding him. He let the FBI come in and shake his people down. I like Trump. I'll vote for him again. But you are right. He reckless. And he should have fired people sooner. He didn't do any of that stuff. And this is why he's where he's at.
Thanks for the call, Jim. All right, coming up at 6:36, we're going to switch gears briefly before we return to these matters. We didn't get to Biden Incorporated. No. We will with Jim Banks at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. But at 6:36, David Blackman on the eco-supremacists.
Yeah, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, good morning. 6:31, 74 degrees. Powerful storms have crossed through the area this morning. Former President Donald Trump is facing even more charges in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Special counsel Jack Smith filed a new indictment Thursday alleging that the former president requested security footage at the Florida estate be deleted. Former President Trump is set to campaign in Pennsylvania, but he's got a major speed bump. The mayor there in the city he will be campaigning in says he's not welcome. Erie Mayor Joe Schember says that's because the city has yet to receive more than $35,000 that Donald Trump owes the city from a rally in 2018. And they're attempting to force the president to pay in advance. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell spoke on the Senate floor Thursday, one day after appearing to freeze up during a news conference. The Kentucky Republican spoke about defense issues.
Like Ranking Member Wicker, Vice Chair Collins, and many other colleagues on both sides of the aisle, have been supportive of this important effort. Outcompeting China is going to take a coalition of committed allies and partners.
McConnell later joked with reporters he got sandbagged. That's a reference to President Biden tripping over a sandbag last month. Survivors of sexual assault by former USA Gymnastics and Michigan State University sports doc Larry Nassar are suing Michigan State University over what they call secret decisions regarding releasing documents in the case. They're not seeking money this time. Rather, what they say is accountability. 6 were injured. A 7th is missing after a boat hit a break wall and overturned in Lake Michigan near Navy Pier this morning. Chicago Fire says 6 have been transported, 1 in critical condition. 3 firefighters and an intern are expected to be okay after their fire truck rolled over in Hampshire Thursday. All 4 occupants suffered injuries and were taken to Sherman Hospital in Elgin. Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias is launching a Skip the Line program at certain offices on September 1st.
Everything we do at the Secretary of State's office is centered around 2 things: creating an environment of excellent customer service and modernization.
Customers will be able to make appointments for in-person visits at 44 of the busiest Secretary of State's offices, including most of those in Chicago and the suburbs. Federal judge is rejecting a lawsuit over Illinois' law regarding mail-in ballots. That suit was filed by Southern Illinois Republican Congressman Mike Bost and 2 GOP officials who sought to block the state from allowing mail-in ballots to be counted up to 2 weeks after Election Day. Cubs rout the Cardinals 10-3 at Busch, while Cleveland down the White Sox 6-3. The Fire a winner over Minnesota United in Leagues Cup play. The news a service of America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. Look sharp, shop smart, and take care of your eyes. Visit America's Best for a professional, comprehensive eye exam at just $79.95. Shop online or book an exam at americasbest.com. 6:34, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum explains the heart of the nation.
The heart of America is in a small town. The heart of America is in the flyover states. That's what America is all about. Men and women busting their tail to keep this country going. Who do you think is making your food? They're the ones that keep the country moving. They're the ones that make the world go round, in my opinion.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. Summer is here, which is the ideal time to brighten things up around the house and let the sunshine in. Make the rooms in your house that appear small, dark, or dingy look better and bigger with larger windows or patio doors. Our highly skilled craftsmen can enlarge openings if your space allows. For decades, Woodland has been transforming living spaces with Marvin windows, featuring styles ranging from modern to traditional. Marvin replacement windows and doors can also bring your backyard right into your living space. Ask us about connecting the inside to the outside. When you welcome a Woodland sales expert into your home, you'll get a product expert, a design consultant, a budget hawk, and someone who has your best interest in mind. Our professional services, along with the best products and installation, are why we are proud of our great online reviews. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Addiction can be a lonely and difficult journey, but you don't have to go through it alone. Simple Steps is a faith-based international addictions recovery program that is here to help provide the support and resources you need. We offer a safe, confidential, and supportive community where you can find hope, healing, and a path forward. With 20 years of success, Simple Steps provides a framework for recovery that is grounded in faith and focused on the transformative power of God's love. Simple Steps meets at 7 p.m. every Friday night at the Quentin Road Baptist Church in Lake Zurich, Illinois. Whether you are struggling with addiction yourself or have a loved one who is, Simple Steps is here to help. Visit our website today at simplestepsrecovery.com or call us at 800-78-GRACE to learn more and get involved. Together, we can take the simple steps towards a life of freedom from addiction. Again, that's simplestepsrecovery.com or 800-78-GRACE.
6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and let us start on the inbound Edens. It is getting heavy early. 18 minutes now, Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy, it's at 1 hour now. Right now from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound side out to the big airport in 30 minutes. Ike in 45 already from 390 into the old post office. Dan Ryan jams up between 47th and the Chinatown feeder. Tri-State, an accident with a right lane block northbound between LaGrange Road and the Stevenson Merge. And due to an earlier accident, the Veterans I-355 northbound is jammed between the Boughton Road just past 63rd. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Temperatures soaring near the 100 mark today. Hot and humid once the storms pass. High 98. 74 right now. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Before we move on, I just wanted to address the issue that a couple callers brought up, and my memory was a little hazy on, so I didn't want to speak out of,
Which you never do, or rarely, if ever.
Go off half-cocked, try not to. So, remember, after the raid, Trump said he refused a request by the FBI to turn off the security cameras. And he even posted on Truth Social shortly after the raid that he was considering releasing surveillance footage of the FBI and their activities during the raid. Now, I don't know if that's true. He obviously never released any surveillance footage. But you can't, on the one hand, claim that I refused the request to turn off the security cameras and then say the FBI directed me to erase the security cameras. Right? That doesn't wash.
Right, no.
One of those things can't be true. So just in terms of using that as some sort of cover story, as we were talking about the latest charges against Trump and now another underling at Mar-a-Lago. All right, well, we'll get back to that. We'll have more of that conversation with Congressman Jim Banks from Indiana, who's running for Senate, at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. But first, of course, none of this matters because we're all going to burn up in the next 5 to 7 minutes.
Well, according to, CNN, we could die in 2025 or 2029 or maybe 2090, they said. Yes. There's a big span of when we're all going to die.
That's a rounding error for these global central planners. David Blackman is an energy writer and consultant based in Texas. He spent 40 years in the oil and gas business, where he specialized in public policy and communications. We referenced this piece he wrote in Daily Caller the other week about some of the silliness as we're going down this rabbit hole of limiting, modifying, making vestigial your washing machine, your dishwasher, your gas stove, your water heater. Oh, and if you thought you were going to get a generator,
Yeah.
well, the Consumer Product Safety Commission has proposed a rule that limits the amount of carbon monoxide a generator can emit, which the commission admits would eliminate 95% of the portable gas generators on the market. So just get comfortable living in darkness and eating plankton, but know that you've saved the planet. So you have that going for you, which is nice, actually. David Blackman, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So the story, we actually talked to Steve Moore about this too a bit earlier in the week, but the story that was a tell for you and also for Steve, would an occasional blackout help solve climate change? This a piece in the LA Times that's trying to condition people to accept darkness.
Right, and that's a rising part of the agenda now that the boosters of all this have tried to keep quiet for a long time. They've talked about it behind the scenes, forcing everyone to dramatically lower our standards of living. And using one advocate even used Zimbabwe. We should live more like Zimbabweans here in the United States in order to help address climate change. And that piece of their agenda and messaging has become increasingly prominent as 2023 has gone on, and these two stories that I referenced in that piece in the New York Times and LA Times are emblematic of that.
The Zimbabwe's per capita GDP is $600.
Right.
So,
a little bit of a discrepancy.
You're gonna have to make some. I'm gonna have to make some adjustments in my lifestyle. It would seem I'm probably gonna have to drop at least one of the golf clubs I belong to. I think to make that $600 threshold. Yeah.
Right, and I joke about it, and y'all joke about it. We all joke about it. But to these folks who are pushing this agenda, this is very serious. They're not kidding. Okay, and if people think that they wouldn't try to implement this if given political power, like the Biden administration has been given political power in Washington for the last couple of years, you really are whistling past the graveyard here. This is the agenda, and it's real, and they are focused on it. And, we need to really start considering these things when we go to the ballot box in our elections.
And what about, they keep saying this record-breaking water temperatures are affecting marine life. It's hotter than a hot tub. That's what they're saying now in Florida. But then if you get out in the water a little bit more, if you go into the deep end, it's a little more normal. But they don't bring that up.
And what they did was they took a temperature measurement in a small, very shallow lagoon on the west coast of Florida, not even out in the Gulf of Mexico, but in this lagoon, and extrapolated that to the entire Gulf of Mexico and the entire coast of Florida, right? This is the trick that we constantly see with this kind of propaganda. And high temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico are very normal, folks. This is nothing new, and it's not a record, and none of that is anything but propaganda designed to keep us all frightened and confused, and thinking that, hey, maybe we really need to start living like people in Zimbabwe, or we're all going to, as the UN Climate or General Secretary said yesterday, we're going into the era of global boiling now. Is the rhetoric he's using?
Boiling.
Yeah.
Well, global boiling.
And Bill Weir, he should be fired for all these comments that he's making about, that we're going to die. He's from CNN. He's the anchor that I was talking about. Please.
Sure. They're
used to work here at Channel 9.
Interchangeable parts over there. So with respect to the issue, since you're a comms guy too, in addition to a policy guy, you've heard the arguments over the last 3 years that, the next thing will be climate change in terms of the way that the state writ large messaged and manipulated on COVID. And they're going to turn their attention to climate change and try to aggrandize their power that much more by playing the same game they have been playing and took to a new level with COVID. They're going to take now that to a new level. Is that your view?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I urge everyone to go to Twitter, or I guess we're calling it X now, and just do a search on Klaus Schwab's daughter, and a video will come up of the daughter of Klaus Schwab, who runs the World Economic Forum, leading a panel discussion of climate activists at a recent WEF conference, in which they're having a very frank discussion about exactly what you're talking about, the utility of COVID lockdowns and other COVID-like policy actions in, quote, fighting climate change, okay? Because when we did the lockdowns for COVID, what happened? Well, the economy crashed. Everybody went out of business. Everybody went out of work. People stopped driving. And what happened? Emissions got lower, right? And so this lunatic focus on carbon emissions is going to be the justification they use for all of that kind of stuff. And they, again, we joke about it, we laugh about it. I do it more than anyone probably. But it really is a very serious thing that our society is facing here. And we need to be cognizant of it and take it very seriously, because these people, they're not joking. And if you give them power, this is what they're going to do.
You were in the oil and gas industry for 4 decades.
Yes, sir.
And I just wonder, the corporate response here too. Ironically, these fossil fuel companies spend a lot of time marketing how green they are, and not a lot of time essentially doing what you're doing with this piece, what you're doing on the show, which is speaking from a place of energy expertise about what is being proposed, what is being theorized, and what is best for the interests of the American people. Do you think the oil and gas industry, the fossil fuel industry, does enough to combat the silliness, all these proposed regs coming out of the Biden administration on household appliances, for example? Where is the corporate response? Where are people who know better outside of conservative think tanks, free market think tanks, saying anything?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a real frustration of mine. It was a frustration in the second half of my career when I was doing all this policy work. I'm free to talk now. I don't have a board of directors or investors to answer to, so I can say what I really think. And it's harder for these corporate executives to do that in the oil and gas business itself. I don't think they do enough. I will, though, say that I do see that changing to some extent. Mike Wirth, the CEO of Chevron, is becoming increasingly outspoken in defending his company. There are several other executives at the senior levels who are, understanding that they need to do more in that realm. So it is changing. It's not enough. And, you're just faced with this overwhelming barrage of not just the activist groups, but all these journalists like Paul Krugman and Sammy Roth, who I quoted in that story, who just take talking points from those groups and roll them into their stories at the New York Times and the LA Times. And so it's hard to combat all that, but the industry definitely needs to do more to defend itself. And I've been trying to convince them that for a long time.
It's sort of obvious, but it becomes hard to combat if you don't fight. They become overwhelming when you allow them to overwhelm you. It's not like that they are without resources. Perhaps it's courage they lack a little bit here. And again, even it doesn't even need to just tell the truth about energy production. Just make sure people understand that the idea of powering a $25 trillion economy on windmills and switchgrass is lunacy. What's so hard about that?
Well, it seems pretty simple to me too, and I do what I can, and there's a kind of a growing group of people online who are doing similar things, and I feel like we're making a difference, but it's a real David versus Goliath situation where the media is concerned.
What's your view on these? Because it's just so personal in your home and your day-to-day life. These proposed rules regulating household appliances, and sort of include that with the garage. What's in your garage, the car, and this idea of eliminating all combustion engine driven cars by 2030, 2035, 2040, whatever.
Which is impossible, frankly. I mean, just the load that electric vehicles put on the grid when they're recharging, you're going to have to triple generating capacity on the grid. That's not possible by 2030 or 2050 or, any time frame you want to name. That it can't happen, and so we're going to have combustion vehicles for a long, long time. We need to focus on cleaning up the energy system we have. And that's the shame of all this. We have an energy system we know works really well when it's properly managed. And if we had focused the resources, the trillions and trillions of dollars in resources, on cleaning up the system we have, rather than trying to tear it all down and replace it with these unscalable intermittent forms of energy, we'd be so much further ahead on this curve in addressing the situation these alarmists claim they want to address. But they tied themselves to these rent-seeking industries like wind and solar and electric vehicles, and they are just myopically focused on, targeting those three industries with all of this government largesse and trying to make an unworkable situation work. And so that's why they're now moving to this narrative that says, well, our alternatives don't work, so now you're going to have to dramatically downscale your lifestyle to help us make them work, right? And that's really the rationale they're using.
Let me ask you another. You prompted a question. The rent-seeking industries. What about the oil and gas producers preemptively saying we don't want any more energy subsidies at the federal or state level? Could that be policy leadership, or would that be unilateral disarmament in your mind?
Oh no, the big oil companies don't get any subsidies. That's what's so funny about that argument. When we talk about things like percentage depletion and deduction of intangible drilling costs, are the two main targets that people talk about. Big oil companies don't even qualify for those things now, and haven't for a long time. But you can't get the New York Times or CBS to honestly report about that. So, I think that would be a smart thing for them to do. But instead, what we see is companies like Shell and BP lining up to take all the subsidies from the IRA to do wind farms and solar farms. And even ExxonMobil, is going to benefit from the investment tax credit on its carbon capture and storage projects that it's investing in. And so, it's just this feeding at the trough of when the federal government decides to subsidize something, everyone is going to try to get in on that to take advantage of those subsidies, whether it makes sense or not. And so it's creating a lot of bad incentives, that are really ultimately going to not solve the issue that they're supposedly targeting. And just make the situation worse.
Bad incentives produce bad policy. That's right. David Blackman, energy writer and consultant based in Texas, spent 4 decades in the oil and gas business, where he specialized in public policy and comms. Do check out his piece. Climate alarmists are finally saying the quiet part out loud at dailycaller.com. David Blackman, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560, The Answer.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. For over 185 years, Families have trusted Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties, to set their legacies in stone. A prepaid cemetery plan locks in today's prices and safeguards against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
This Balance of Nature has really helped me. It has kept me peppy as far as energetic. I honestly know that I have to give it credit. So I know that the greatest thing that I take is that Balance of Nature. No matter what I have to endure, I am not giving Balance of Nature that.
It gives us more energy, and we have a rescue farm to take care of, and there isn't anything else that we've changed that would give us the energy, and we just love it. We just swear by it. Both Chuck and I have had the same experience, and I said, Chuck, it has to be Balance of Nature.
Don't wait. Get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This limited time offer ends July 31st. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. We know how important it is to take a partner in the passenger seat when you're on a long road trip. You need a trusted friend and a voice to help you navigate through the hills and valleys of your journey. We want to be that voice for you on your road to retirement.
Absolutely. Our whole team at Wealth Management Group will be by your side for the long haul.
Let Wealth Management Group be your compass and your guide to retirement.
Find us at investwithwmg.com and tune in each week to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
New charges and a new defendant. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and an additional filing in the classified document case against former President Trump.
As the special counsel continues to prosecute both Trump and top staffers for allegedly holding on to classified materials at Mar-a-Lago, a look at some of the additional charges, adding charges of obstruction and willful retention of national defense information. The government now alleging that Trump directed staff to find ways to delete security footage from within Mar-a-Lago's property. The property manager of Mar-a-Lago now also being charged in relation to this incident. He'll be in court on Monday for an arraignment.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Some Republicans are upset. Congresswoman Nancy Mace tells Fox Business.
Hillary Clinton was under subpoena. Those emails were under subpoena when she destroyed them. I mean, it is a complete double standard here.
The former president is also the 2024 Republican frontrunner trying to win the job back, calls it election interference at the highest level. The Senate has approved a defense bill that not the version the House passed, though, that includes amendments Democrats do not support. One would restrict the Pentagon policy allowing military members to travel to states that allow abortions, a policy Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville opposes so much he's been holding up hundreds of military promotions and nominations.
Now, I think in August, pressure is going to mount on Tuberville, and I think the Republicans are feeling that heat.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, it's going to feel like an oven outside for millions of Americans again today.
A heat wave in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic will continue into the weekend, and there's no relief yet for the string of record-breaking temps in the Southwest and Midwest. There are excessive heat warnings for places including Washington, D.C. and New York City, where the heat index could be well over 100.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers, a founding member of the Eagles, has died. Randy Meisner co-wrote and sang that hit and played bass for the Eagles. Meisner left the band in 1977. He died at the age of 77. America's listening to Fox News. 72 degrees. That's 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Heavy storms, rain, hot weather slamming Chicago today. Hot temperatures and high humidity forcing cooling centers back open, and hospitals are bracing for heat illnesses later today. 6 were injured. A 7th is now missing after a boat hit a break wall and overturned in Lake Michigan near Navy Pier this morning. Chicago Fire tells us a total of 6 have been transported, 1 in critical condition. Community meeting was held Thursday evening discussing the possibility of turning the Broadway Armory Park into an illegal immigrant shelter. The Johnson administration's Beatrice Ponce de Leon took heavy flack from the Northside residents like Eileen Johnson.
This is really disappointing to me, not only that because I'm losing like the place that I do my sport, but also because I see how many kids rely on this building for after-school programs.
The Park District is looking for ways to abandon programs at the Armory, shifting them along with summer camps and senior programs elsewhere. 2 men are hurt after a small plane crashes in DeKalb County. It happened near the town of Cortland. Pilot and passenger were hospitalized. FAA is investigating. The man who was charged with supplying the gun used in 7-year-old Jaslyn Adams' murder at a McDonald's drive-thru on Chicago's West Side has received probation. Federal authorities announcing Eric Keeves of Indianapolis straw purchased 2 guns that ended up in Chicago. One of those guns was used in the murder of Jaslyn Adams, April 18th of 2021. Hundreds of workers at Chicago's Loretto Hospital are prepared to go on strike.
And we are poised to strike on Monday, despite our best attempts to negotiate and get through to Loretto management. They walked away from the table yesterday.
The union representing employees at the hospital say contract talks are completely stalled. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has made a desperate social call on the Bears and President Kevin Warren to try to talk the team out of leaving the city of Chicago and the worst stadium deal in the NFL. The Bears have been demolishing a site in Arlington Heights, but high property taxes there are slowing the team's full commitment to that site, leaving the door open for places like Aurora, Naperville, Rockford, Waukegan, and Richmond Park. Cubs rout the Cardinals 10-3. Cleveland beat the White Sox 6-3. The news, a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now, Dan and Amy 247.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The mainstream media wants to divide Americans into neat little groups, and they want you to believe that everyone in each one of those groups thinks alike. John Anthony is here to blow up that lie. Join him for Black and Right tomorrow afternoon at 4, when he provides a different perspective on what it means to be black and right. Tomorrow afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having nationwide access with an annual deductible of only $226. There are only 2 good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor, C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com, is someone I know and trust. He's a 28-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Greetings, Sebastian Gorka here. For years, I've mentioned how much Relief Factor has helped the pain in my lower back. Gary from Ohio shared his experience too. He writes, I tried Relief Factor due to its botanical ingredients to reduce pain in my shoulder, knee, and lower back. After just a few weeks, the knee pain was completely gone, and the shoulder and back pain were reduced quite a bit. I can now exercise much more comfortably and practically pain-free. Thank you, Relief Factor. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. So it looks like a lot of people are thanking Relief Factor. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing. Your first step to becoming pain-free should be to order the 3-week quick start at the reduced price of $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor. relieffactor.com.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Cabino Environmental. If you need an expert that can come in and clean up that fuel spill, visit CabinoEnvironmental.com. Their environmental response team will come to the rescue. Get help at CabinoEnvironmental.com. Carroll Stream, an accident, North Avenue in Schmally. Waukegan, traffic signals are flashing red all the way around Buttrick and Glen Flora. Tri-State northbound disabled vehicle right lane block. It's northbound 294 between Archer and Ogden. Dan Ryan's stop and go between 47th and the Chinatown feeder in the locals, 25 minutes in, 95th into the Burns Circle. The Ike at 47, 390 into the old post office, and the Kennedys at an hour from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A bit of sun. It'll be hot. Thunderstorm this afternoon. We do have a heat advisory into the evening. High today 98. Strong thunderstorm this evening. Low tonight 71. Partly sunny, less humid day tomorrow. The high near 80. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
72 at O'Hare, and for our friends in northwest Indiana near the town of Wheatfield, severe thunderstorm warning has just been launched for you. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts there near Wheatfield in Jasper County, northwest Indiana. Your next news update is 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. What of baby boy Hunter? Trying to get clarification on what the White House's position is, the big guy's position, effectively, in terms of his involvement with his baby boy Hunter. Phil Wegman over at RealClearPolitics.com tried again yesterday with Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House spokeswoman, and this is how that went.
The president has previously said that he has never discussed overseas business dealings with his son, but the White House now says that the president has never been in business with his son. So why the updated language? Which statement is true? Or is this semantics and they're both true?
As I stated on Monday, when I was asked this question multiple times, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed on this. Nothing has changed on this. And so could ask me a million different ways on this question. Nothing has changed.
How about just one way? Has he never spoken with and or done business with? Is it one? Is it both? Is it neither?
I mean, we have a text message, from Hunter saying, quote, "I'm sitting here with my father and we, capitals, would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled."
Yeah, that's the text, the WhatsApp message to the Chinese businessman. Among what we're expecting to hear from Devin Archer, Hunter Biden's former business partner, on Monday.
If he makes it. I mean, he can't stay at his home in Long Island. He can't stay at his home in Brooklyn because of the threats that they're getting. So they're in hiding right now.
This denial has been going on for quite some time, actually, it turns out. Julie Kelly over at amgreatness, amgreatness.com, reminded us of the exchange between Jay Carney. That's going back to 2014. Exchange between Jay Carney when he was the White House spokeshuman about Hunter Biden. May 13th of 2014. Hunter Biden has now taken a position with the largest oil and gas company, holding company in Ukraine. Is there any concern about the appearance of a conflict there? Jay Carney, I would refer you to the Vice President's office. Hunter Biden and other members of the Biden family are obviously private citizens. Where they work does not reflect an endorsement by the administration or by the Vice President or President, but I would refer you to the Vice President's office. And that was the standard talking point back in 2014 at the end of Joe Obama term 2. What about Joe Obama term 3? Remember, Jen Psaki was at the State Department with Marie Harf. They were the Cagney and Lacey of the State Department.
Yeah, you love those two.
Oh, yeah. And then Psaki graduated to being White House spokeshuman for a time there in the beginning of the Biden administration, right?
Yeah.
You remember. She was asked about it, too. Matt Lee, AP reporter, covers national security issues. He asked her about it not so long ago. So you go back, Jay Carney, 2014, asked about it. Refer you to the Vice President's office. We don't endorse, not endorse. It's just a private citizen. Nothing to see here. Mike Lee querying Jen Psaki about it. That's how this went.
I'm wondering if the State Department has any concerns or any thoughts about the Vice President's son joining the board of directors of this Ukrainian gas company. Does, in particular, I understand why the White House would refer this to the Vice President's office, but does this building diplomatically have any concerns about potential perceptions of conflict or / cronyism, which is what you've often accused the Russians of doing?
No, he's a private citizen.
Okay, but then do you consider that the Russian oligarchs who control, or the Ukrainian oligarchs who control these, they're all private citizens as well?
We certainly wouldn't put them in the same.
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting that it should be in the same category. But I'm wondering if there are concerns from this building about the perception about how the Russians and or the Ukrainians would perceive the involvement of a son of the Vice President of the United States in this, especially given the situation.
No, there are not.
No
concerns. That was almost a decade ago. White House spokeshuman Jay Carney, State Department spokeshuman Jen Psaki, who went on to be Biden White House spokesman, as you know.
Wow.
So this has been, covering up for Hunter for at least the last decade. Actually, we know it goes back longer than that. We talked about it earlier in this week. New York Times reporting the Obama in 2008, fall of 2008, before Obama's elected. We don't have any concerns about Joe Biden's son Hunter getting money from big banks that were.
We don't know what he did.
Well, that were lobbying for change in the consumer bankruptcy law that would benefit them. Joe Biden was working in advance of that change. Hunter Biden gets hired by those big banks. That goes back to 2001.
Well, don't forget what Hunter Biden texted to his daughter in 2019, quote, "I hope you can all do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half of your salary." So maybe it wasn't 10%, maybe it's 50%.
Well, half in total, 10% on sweetheart deals like a Chinese energy concern.
Yeah, he's been doing it for 30 years. He says it's exhausting job.
Well, this is why, because of what we're talking about and what they've been misdirecting attention away from for so many years, this is why his plea bargain getting sidelined by the judge the other day is so important. And Jonathan Turley, law professor from George Washington University, of course, explained why that plea bargain broke down. Because you had a prosecution and a defense that didn't agree on the nature of the plea bargain. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Here's Turley. One, the defense said this was a closeout plea bargain, and the prosecution, because they don't want to disclose and they don't want to have to answer questions about things like Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings and who may or may not be implicated along with him in those foreign business dealings. They just keep it an open-ended investigation. We're not done here, so we can say it's a pending investigation. We don't have to answer questions, which is why they couldn't say in court that it was a closeout plea agreement. And the judge smelled a rat.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is they really did want to cap out the case. The Department of Justice wanted to cap this investigation, but they didn't want to say that it was now over. From the very beginning, the Hunter Biden team said that this is a closeout plea agreement, that there'd be nothing left to investigate. But the Department of Justice is telling Congress, we're not going to give you these witnesses or these documents because there's an ongoing investigation. Right. You can't do both things when a judge is asking you to specifically address whether this is a closeout or a continuing investigation.
So that's one key point. And the other key point, which Jonathan Turley nicely summarized, the question the judge asked. The question the judge asked that may mandate House Republicans move an impeachment proceeding against the big guy.
The judge just raised the one charge that the White House most fears, which is the chance that Hunter was a foreign agent. And if he was a foreign agent, the question is foreign agent for who and for what purpose? The president was that purpose. If you're influence peddling, it's influence over the president. So if you go for FARA, it's going to bring all of this stuff in, including some of these tax counts from 2014 to 2015 that the Department of Justice allowed to run, allowed the statute of limitations to expire. Right. All of that can get bootstrapped into a FARA issue. So the whole purpose of this deal is collapsing as we're watching it, and it's taken Washington by utter surprise. I was on the Hill talking with members.
Yeah.
And didn't he want blanket immunity for future prosecutions?
Well, of course, it was a closeout. That was the whole point, is they wanted it to be, both sides really wanted it to be a closeout deal, but Department of Justice couldn't admit that they want this to be a closeout deal because then they couldn't say there's a pending investigation possibly implicating FARA charges. But, of course, the whole point, like they slow-walked the IRS investigation, and by the way, that whistleblower, self-identified gay Democrat, Joseph Ziegler, had a piece in Wall Street Journal. I came forward because, in my opinion, Hunter Biden received preferential treatment. Although some in Congress tried to explain away my concerns, what I saw during the investigation was entirely outside the norm. I've disagreed with prosecutors in the past. In some cases, I didn't get my way, but those disagreements always followed the normal investigative process. I always was allowed to follow concrete evidence and investigate a case without being handcuffed or slow-walked by the Justice Department. In a Hunter Biden case, he says in detail as he testified, I wasn't. He, quoting Ziegler again, I would characterize the Justice Department's behavior as obstruction. Of course it was. 5 years for a simple IRS fraud scheme. And so they were slow-walking that to have the statutes run on the Burisma cash. And now, of course, they would slow walk the FARA investigation. It's an open investigation. It's a pending investigation at least through November of 2024. And we can't talk about it. And we can't give you these documents. And we can't present these witnesses. And we can't even tell you if there's an investigation going on. We may or may not have an investigation going on, which is the new default position of the FBI, just as the new default position of the Biden White House is never did business with. It's no longer never spoke with about business. And so here's where Kevin McCarthy is at, Speaker McCarthy, saying the other day that an inquiry, they're not moving to impeachment yet. So, I know the D.C. press corps is hyperventilating, but he was careful to explain where they're at versus where they're not.
By withholding information. If they do not provide the information we need, then we would go to an impeachment inquiry. Impeachment inquiry, which simply is an investigation and providing Congress the power to do that investigation.
For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Congressman Jim Banks. He's a rep for Indiana's 3rd. He's also running for the Republican nomination for U.S. Senate in the seat that Mike Braun is vacating. Representative Banks, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Good to be with you.
So does what Speaker McCarthy says, does that satisfy you in terms of the sort of step-by-step process in pursuit of the truth when it comes to all things Biden Incorporated?
Well, it's the beginning of the process. So, yes, that's how it works. The House Judiciary Committee, chaired by Jim Jordan, will begin the impeachment inquiry, or that entire process, and then we'll move forward. I'm ready to vote for impeachment. I believe this president is the most corrupt president we've ever had living in the White House. That's saying a lot after the Clintons lived there, but the evidence is mounting and piling up day by day with what this family has gotten away with for years. And now with him in the White House, the number of examples of abuses of power and the reasons that we should impeach him. The reason it's important to me is we need to make sure that no president in the future believes that they can get away with what Joe Biden got away with. That's why you impeach him. You lay down a marker that we will not stand for this. There will be accountability, and impeachment is that accountability.
But you have 18 Republicans who are elected in Democratic districts, so do you think they'd vote to impeach?
I don't know. I can't speak for them. I believe the evidence is there. The House Republican Conference is growing. I believe in this direction, and that's why Speaker McCarthy is, he's laying out the timeline or the marker that you move forward with the House Judiciary Committee doing its job with an impeachment inquiry to start that process. And then move it forward to a vote on the floor. Obviously, I don't expect the Senate, controlled by Democrats. I guess at this point, I'm skeptical that they would impeach him.
Right.
But if the evidence there, force the United States Senate to take it up, hold the hearings, and let the American people decide for themselves. Let them hear this evidence as well. So much of it covered up by the mainstream media that they won't talk about it. But Chuck Grassley deserves an award for his tenacious pursuit of the truth, and what he released this week, the FD 1032, and what that includes, the facts about the Hunter Biden dealings in Ukraine, the money that the family received from it, the money that Joe Biden skimmed off the top of it, all in the pursuit of selling access of the son selling access to the powerful father who was in the White House at the time as Vice President to Barack Obama. We know those dealings were occurring then. We can only speculate that those dealings have been going on for a long time. But I'm very glad that Senator Grassley pursued this, released this form to the public. When the FBI threatened him, the DOJ told him not to do it. He released it anyway so that the American people can see the facts, but there's so much more of that to come.
And so there's no political queasiness on your part, clearly. Are you going to be watching and pushing people, including maybe, as needed, the Speaker, to move forward with this process, not allow this to be slow-walked because of, some in the Republican caucus who may or may not be politically faint of heart?
Yeah, I don't think I need to do any pushing. I mean, I think the growing spirit in the House Republican Conference is that this type of corruption can never be repeated again, and impeachment is the way to ensure that that type of accountability occurs. So I think you've already heard the beginnings of this pursuit and interest among House Republicans. It's only going to grow, especially when members go home for the August recess, which we closed up shop on the House floor yesterday. We're all back on our way back to our districts, and when you go back to Northeast Indiana, my constituents are saying, how does this president get away with it? Why aren't you holding him accountable? And that growing sense among our constituents in our district is something that all House Republicans are going to feel when they go home.
That's not limited to Biden, I suspect, either. I'm sure they're saying, and Merrick Garland, if he was less than forthright, to be generous. And, oh, by the way, on another topic, but also incredibly important, I mean, Ali Mayorkas' testimony before the House Judiciary Committee this week was comical, except the issue of First Amendment rights is not funny, the infringements of DHS and other agencies. But so, I mean, I don't want to get into an impeachment palooza here, but I mean, Merrick Garland, Ali Mayorkas, there are other targets when it comes to obvious bad acts, aren't there?
I think that's right. I mean, the Mayorkas hearing this week was really infuriating. I mean, it's the Congress's job to provide oversight, and when that oversight is blocked by the administration, in this case, Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Mayorkas, who has completely skirted the law, at the border, the way they've opened the border wide open, the travesty that comes with that, flooding our country with fentanyl, leading cause of death of Americans my age, of working age, who are eligible to serve in our military, obviously a national security concern, and they just completely the department, the secretary completely blocks that type of oversight from the House. I mean, he does deserve to be impeached. I mean, I understand your sentiment, but about impeachment palooza, but when it comes to these guys, there has to be some kind of accountability, and at the end of the day, that's it. That's the power that the House has to provide that type of accountability to those who abuse their power.
He lied under oath and said that
it's running wild.
Sorry, Congressman, but he lied under oath and said that the border was secure. And clearly, obviously, if anybody has half a brain, they can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, 1,700 people have died so far this year trying to get into this country. So what is it going to take? Is the Biden administration, is there going to be any movement at all to secure the border?
Not on their part. I mean, they're bragging about. I mean, as you just said. I mean, they're bragging about securing the border when that's obviously false. They're lying about the numbers. They're using funny math to try to make claims that the border is secure when we know that is absolutely 100% false. So to get back to that point, at Northeast Indiana, as I travel around the state of Indiana running for the United States Senate, Republicans are sick and tired of the talk, and they're begging for us to follow through and provide the type of oversight and accountability that we promised when we asked for them to give us back the House Republican majority, which they did. So we have to move forward with these investigations, and if those investigations are blocked by the Biden administration, we have to impeach those who are abusing their power in doing so.
Well, and that I just want to get one more before we let you go, and that necessarily implicates the FBI. That's a bit more delicate, but it's no more delicate than the Attorney General. What about Christopher Wray and Paul Abadi and the boys over at the FBI and accountability there?
Well, I have a lot of concerns there. I mean, we've seen this going on for a long time, but never more than on the Biden administration's watch. The FBI, the DOJ becoming politicized in such a dangerous way in America to see the federal law enforcement agency and the Biden administration using it against their political enemies, and in a lot of ways going after parents, showing up at school board meetings, to going after the nonstop investigations and threats against President Trump and his family, and using it in that way. So, yeah, absolutely. And this is where I believe, if there's ever been the right guy in the right place at the right time, it's Jim Jordan, chairing the House Judiciary Committees, methodically going through this process. And yes, I wish it would happen faster, but It's not because Jim Jordan's not doing his job and providing that type of serious investigation to lay the groundwork to hold these people accountable. So stay tuned, and I think after we get back from the August recess, you're going to see a lot of this heat up.
He is Congressman Jim Banks, representative for Indiana's 3rd and Republican candidate for U.S. Senate in Indiana come next year. Jim Banks, Representative Banks, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, this is Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois with my current want list for upcoming auctions. Guns and military items are always at the top of my list, but I have buyers for vintage automobiles and motorcycles, old gas pumps and automotive signs. Do you have pinball machines and coin-operated games like slot machines, jukeboxes? How about Coke machines and soda machines? Also, neon signs, antique phonographs and music boxes, old toys, especially science fiction and Star Wars. Cowboy and Native American collections like barbershop, ice cream parlor, and saloon items. We'll take one item or an entire collection. We sell it all. Call me before you sell your items outright because you could be leaving a fortune on the table. And you won't know until you call me at 815-923-7000 or send me an email at DonnellyAuctions.com. My job is to get you top dollar for your collections, so call me at 815-923-7000. I'm Randy Donnelly, and I'll see you at the auction.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to the capitalist pig, Jonathan Honig, about what else? Capitalism. 737.
But now, straight into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
733, 72 degrees. Rain and earlier today, powerful storms crossed the area. Later today, highs near 95 and a heat advisory. Former President Trump facing more charges in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Special counsel Jack Smith filed a new indictment Thursday alleging that the former president requested security footage at his Florida estate be deleted. Former President Trump facing more charges in his ongoing illegal documents case as well, as Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer reports.
The Department of Justice has announced a superseding indictment to former President Trump's classified documents case. The 45th president and GOP presidential frontrunner now faces an additional count of willful retention of national defense information, along with 2 new additional counts of obstruction. Trump is now formally accused of asking a Mar-a-Lago staff member to erase camera footage in an attempt to obstruct the probe into classified documents that wound up at his Palm Beach, Florida resort. News of the additional charges came as Trump awaited a potential 3rd indictment by a D.C. grand jury. We've heard from Trump's campaign, who says Jack Smith has no case.
The Justice Department will launch a civil rights investigation into claims the Memphis Police Department used excessive force against some African American residents. The historic launch of a Falcon Heavy rocket postponed again. The triple-core rocket was set to blast off overnight from the Kennedy Space Center, but SpaceX scrubbed that launch. 6 were injured. A 7th is missing after a boat slammed into a break wall and overturned in Lake Michigan near Navy Pier this morning. Chicago Fire tells us 6 have been transported, 1 in critical condition. Hundreds of workers at Loretto Hospital are prepared to go on strike.
And we are poised to strike on Monday. Despite our best attempts to negotiate and get through to Loretto management, they walked away from the table yesterday.
Workers are pushing for better wages and what they call safer staffing. Trader Joe's is recalling nearly 11,000 cases of one of its store brand soups because it may contain bugs. The FDA releasing a news Thursday that Trader Joe's unexpected broccoli cheddar soup has insects in the frozen broccoli florets. The 20-ounce soup containers were sold at stores in Illinois and 6 other states. Cubs rattle off 14 hits in a 10-3 rout of the Cardinals while the White Sox lost to Cleveland. Lee Hodges leading after one round of play at the 3M Open that was suspended due to inclement weather. The news, a service of Woodland Windows and Doors. When you welcome a Woodland sales expert into your home, you'll get no pre-sale pressure, a product expert, a design consultant, and someone who has your best interest in mind. Visit woodlandwindows.com to get started. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
There are millions upon millions of people of good character going to good states and low-rent Democrat scum going to Democrat states. After all, that's where they thrive. This is where this is acceptable. And it's being put as something that's normal. It's normal now to be an outright thief, scumbag, traitor to your country.
The Sean Thompson Show. Weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. Hi, my name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. And right now, I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. This is not a work of fiction. It's a terrifying reality looming on the horizon. But there is a bit of good news. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. They are specialists in converting your traditional assets, like those inside an IRA or 401k, into tangible assets such as physical gold and silver. Don't allow your money to be controlled. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Call 800-900-8000.
Rest easy knowing your savings are secure and earning you more with a Wintrust MaxSafe account. With MaxSafe, you get up to 15 times the standard FDIC personal protection. That's right, 15 times the protection with the ability to secure up to $3.75 million per account holder. Now that's banking as it should be. Call 833-MaxSafe to talk with a local Wintrust banker today. That's 833-MaxSafe. Peace of mind is just a phone call away. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks. Member FDIC. See FDIC.gov for deposit insurance coverage rules.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
This Balance of Nature has really helped me. It has kept me peppy as far as energetic. I honestly know that I have to give it credit. So I know that greatest thing that I take is that Balance of Nature. No matter what I have to endure, I am not giving Balance of Nature that.
It gives us more energy, and we have a rescue farm to take care of. And there isn't anything else that we've changed that would give us the energy, and we just love it. We just swear by it. Both Chuck and I have had the same experience, and I said, Chuck, it has to be Balance of Nature.
Don't wait. Get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. This limited time offer ends July 31st. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
New from #1 New York Times bestselling author Brad Thor comes Deadfall. A Russian mercenary unit is murdering Americans in Ukraine. Lethal operative Scott Harvath is dispatched to take them out. Will he stop them before they strike again? The Real Book Spy raves. Deadfall is the hottest thriller this summer and a contender for Best Book of 2023. Deadfall by Brad Thor. Available now wherever books are sold. From Atria Books.
If you speed, there are lots of sounds that you might hear, like the sound of your vehicle crashing, because eventually, speeding catches up with you.
It is 7:40, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Inbound Edens, 21 Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy at an hour 10 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike sits at 51 right now from 390 to the old post office. You're on the brakes, Des Plaines Avenue, all the way to Cicero. Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to DuSable Lakeshore Drive is 35 minutes. The Dan Ryan, 24 minutes. 95th to the Burns Circle interchange. Tri-State jammed up northbound between Lake Cook Road to before Duffy Lane because of an earlier accident. Veterans slow northbound between 75th and the Reagan Memorial. Warrenville, an accident. Route 59 in Batavia Carroll Stream, an accident being cleaned up North Avenue in Schmally, and it is set up for Pierogi Fest in Whiting, Indiana. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Temperatures near 95 today, and strong afternoon thunderstorms are expected to return. 72 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. This was a fun little piece the other day. It's not particularly insightful, but it does call to mind somebody else that should be in the conversation in terms of predicting where we are today. George Orwell is most often cited because, most people have never read anything other than 1984, so they have no reference for the dystopian. So they don't, it's a Vonnegut sometimes. Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, Anthem, others, offerings, other novels tell us where we're going if we sort of gave into this, what she would call cultural altruism. That's not a compliment. I know altruism has a positive connotation, and it should to an extent. I'm not a Randian, but not at the expense of attacking the economic and social system that generates the resources by which people can be altruistic. This is the part that the left misses, the disconnect. 5 ways Rand predicted America's political crisis today. And I thought, well, we're talking about Ayn Rand. Well, there's no one better on the topic. Well, maybe there's some people better. I mean, Randian scholars, but I mean, somebody very good on the topic because he wrote a book about it. So he's steeped in Rand as well, and just the larger takeaways, of course. Maybe a few reading recommendations as well. Jonathan Hoenig is the Capitalist Pig. He's a founding member of the Capitalist Pig Hedge Fund and a Fox News contributor. He's the author of A New Textbook of Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. Jonathan, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Dan and Amy, great to be with you. And Rand wasn't against altruism in the sense that she wasn't against being nice or even being charitable.
Right.
But for her, Rand was against self-sacrifice, sacrificing yourself, your own values, your own future, your own happiness for the benefit of other people or other entities, whether that's the nation, the environment, the poor, or anything else. So Rand was all about Americanism, pursuing your happiness, your life, liberty, and the rest right here on Earth today, right now.
No, there's no question. I mean, I'm not on board with her atheism, so that's why I'm not a Randian. But there's no question, and what she was brilliant at, perhaps one. I mean, I don't think perhaps one of the most important authors of the 20th century was storyifying these morality tales, if you will. And again, this piece from a columnist over at Fox Digital. She hits at least on the right topic areas. What would happen to education? What would happen to parental rights over their children? What would happen to our very system of free minds and free markets?
Yeah, I mean, Dan, and Amy, exactly right. I mean, Rand understood that politics comes last. We get the politicians that we deserve. And today's political cesspool is a result of ideas, the ideas that have been taught in American schools for decades now. And as you said, Dan, whether it's education, whether it's parental rights, whether it's this whole cancel culture, I mean, Rand foresaw exactly the political morass that the country is now facing. And, I think that's what I fear, Dan and Amy, is not even short term, but longer term. You don't see any return to exactly those ideals, the American ideals, the capitalist, the individualistic, the notion of self-sufficiency. That's off the radar screen for today's young people. So Rand foresaw, and Dan, that's exactly what I write about in a new textbook of Americanism.
Your favorite Rand offering? Let me guess.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna guess.
Atlas?
No, it's too obvious.
That's such low-hanging fruit.
Virtue of selfishness.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rand did think that selfishness was a virtue, but what is selfishness? It's not, pursuing your values to someone's detriment. It's not hurting other people or stealing or ruining other people's lives to pursue your own goals. But it's trading with them. It's benefiting them and benefiting yourself at the same time. But Rand foresaw all of this, Stan and Amy, and it's why her ideas are so needed right now. I mean, even the so-called right, the Republicans now, I mean, they don't even espouse free market capitalism. They don't espouse individualism like, Rand certainly did. So, we need a change. We need a political, we need an intellectual change in this country back towards exactly those American ideals. Individualism, freedom, free market capitalism, those are dirty words to today's young people and today's culture, Dan.
Well, let's dig a little deeper. So how did Rand foresee America's tragic failures in education?
Government. I mean, Rand understood that government and education need to be completely separated. And in today's Department of Education, we think of that as being such an integral part of the American experiment, right? Well, we need a Department of Education. I mean, this was only created in 1979 under Carter. So we have this centralized education, and not just in terms of providing it, but funding it as well. Today you have young people graduating with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, with educational backgrounds that they'll never use. That's exactly as a result of government involved in education writ large. So, that's just one example, Amy, of how government involvement in the economy and the country, ironically, is ruining exactly the country it's supposed to protect.
All right, I've got a question for you, Mr. Rand scholar.
Get ready.
Why has there only been one good movie made of a Rand novel? You know what I'm talking about. Of course, that'd be The Fountainhead with Gary Cooper and Patricia Neal. All the other movies, especially that series on Atlas Shrugged, terrible. What's up with that?
Yeah, no. Ironically, in my opinion, the best movie of Rand's works was actually made without her permission. The fascist in the 50s and the 40s actually made a video or made a movie of her book We the Living, unauthorized.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but you're right. There hasn't been a good movie until I think there will be one soon, actually. Rand's heir, a gentleman by the name of Leonard Peikoff, Dan, actually has resold the rights to The Daily Caller. So it's very likely in the next couple of years you'll see from Ben Shapiro's out to The Daily Caller.
You mean Daily Wire? Daily Wire.
The Daily Wire, exactly. The Daily Wire, a new version of Atlas Shrugged, and boy, we really could use it. And Dan and Amy, there's a reason that Ayn Rand's books continue to sell now. 40-some years after her death, they still continue to sell thousands of copies year after year after year. They're great books. They're exciting books. They're not, simply tales on politics and ethics. They're exciting, wonderful reads, which is why everyone should pick them up.
All right, so I should see The Fountainhead, that movie, because I'm looking for a movie to download.
You never saw The Fountainhead?
I didn't. I never saw The Godfather 1 or 2.
Yeah, The Fountainhead,
recently.
Gary Cooper and Patricia Neal. See The Fountainhead. Everyone should see The Fountainhead.
Yeah.
And you should also read it, too.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
But, by the way, I mean,
thank you for book and movie shaming.
With all due, no problem. My pleasure. So yeah, Ben Shapiro, not a movie maker. I don't have a lot of confidence there, unless he outsources it to Andrew Klavan, and Klavan gets some of his Hollywood friends to make it professional. Because that movie thing, I'm just an aside. I'm not encouraged by that. I'm sorry to say. All right, let's talk a little bit about the markets. So Fed's expected rate hike. And the markets are going to continue to go up forever. And if they don't, then we'll spend more money and we'll just repeat what we've been doing for the last 10 years.
Well, Dan, it's almost like I'm living in two different worlds here. I mean, you've got Biden and those in Washington crowing about how much better things are. Bidenomics and inflation's coming down. But you've got 76% of Americans saying that inflation has severely impacted their finances. And in fact, 60% say that they think inflation is still going up. And as you said, I mean, this is really getting serious. You're paying 3% on a mortgage just a few years ago. Mortgage rates are now above 7%. And probably the best example is something as simple as like a car loan. 5 years ago, the average car loan was about $490 in 2015. It's $750 today for a car loan. That's the monthly payment on a new car loan. So you have a 50% increase in just the monthly payment for a new car loan. So, Dan, Biden is crowing about this economy, Dan and Amy, but the average American isn't.
No recession. No recession.
The wrong way.
Everybody says no recession's happening. He's staved off a recession. He saved us.
Bidenomics.
The irony, yeah. I mean, meanwhile, you've got 1 in 5 Americans saying that they don't think they're ever going to be able to retire, specifically because of today's economy. And again, a majority of them saying that we're on the wrong track. So, it's funny, Dan, they've been saying for years now, there is no recession, the economy is improving, but everyday Americans, despite a nice rally in the stock market, aren't feeling it at all.
All right, Jonathan Honig, the Capitalist Pig, founding member of the Capitalist Pig Hedge Fund, Fox News contributor, author of the book, A New Textbook of Americanism, The Politics of Ayn Rand. And again, expand, for those of you who need to, beyond Orwell and Vonnegut and some of these others that told great morality tales, and include Rand if you haven't, and the New Textbook of Americanism that Jonathan Honig wrote. Jonathan, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you both. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The weather's almost as hot as what we're talking about. AM 560, The Answer.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately, helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It's the Season of Discovery sales event at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Dan Proft here. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned Mazda, you need to visit Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. You'll find the Mazda you want, and the price you see is the price you get. There are no games and no gimmicks. Right now is a great time to buy a new Mazda with limited time incentives that only come around once a year. You can lease a 2023 Mazda CX-30 for $412 a month, or a 2023 Mazda CX-5 for $410 a month for 36 months with approved credit through Mazda Capital Services for qualified buyers. Just add the license, title, tax, and $324.24 doc fee. Plus, stop in today and ask about the all-new 2024 Mazda CX-90. And to keep your Mazda running great all year round, schedule your next service appointment online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. That's WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda is conveniently located in Elmhurst, off York Road and 290, just minutes from Oak Brook, downtown, and Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com and see dealer for details.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Best Dental Group, MyFireside.com, Nurse Freedom Network, and Patriot Mobile. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
All right, it's going to be raining. Sorry, Dan. Excuse me. Hey, can I have the book over there, boss? What do you get? All right. It's going to be raining today, this afternoon. We may have a deluge of thunderstorms. And how's your basement going to hold up? How's your crawl space going to hold up? If you've been living with water every time there's a downpour of rain, you don't have to live like that. Just call our good friends over at Permaseal. They've been in business for 40-plus years, an A-plus rating with the BBB, and a 4.9 star Google rating. They are the best. All too often, homeowners just ignore these situations. But in between storms, after you clean up the water in your basement or crawl space, is the best time to get that free estimate from Permaseal. You know the number, 1-800-421-SEAL, 1-800-421-7325, or simply go online to permaseal.net.
Are you considering a unique way to enhance your investment knowledge this year? Then sign up today for the all-inclusive Eagle Financial Publications Cruise. Along with our trusted partner, The Money Show, we're setting sail this December to explore some of the most beautiful and unspoiled destinations in the Caribbean. But this is no ordinary vacation. It's a chance to learn from top Eagle financial experts like best-selling authors George Gilder, Mark Skousen, and others who will be hosting a series of workshops and seminars throughout the trip. Imagine lounging on the sun deck while discussing investment strategies with like-minded individuals, or enjoying a gourmet dinner at the same table with one of our leading financial authorities. This once-in-a-lifetime cruise is a perfect way to combine education and relaxation to achieve your investment goals. This cruise will sell out quickly, so visit EagleFinancialCruise.com today to learn more and to secure your cabin. That's EagleFinancialCruise.com. Eagle Financial is a division of Salem Media Group.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-353-2973 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer
is the current military brass preparing us to lose the next war. We'll put that question to Seth Cropsey, who's the president and founder of the Yorktown Institute, former Undersecretary of the Navy. He joins us at 8:08.
And what to expect after the Broadway Armory closes, that we'll discuss when we have Open Mic Friday at 8:38. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
2 hurt in a DeKalb County plane crash. A federal judge drops a lawsuit over mail-in ballots. A desperate Chicago mayor has a Hail Mary meeting with the Bears. Cubs hammer out the win over the Cardinals. White Sox fall to Cleveland. The Fire beat Minnesota United. Heavy storms and hot weather for this Friday. High near 98. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
What about the classified documents case against President Biden? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump posted that on social media, calling the new charges against him ridiculous, with more counts added to the case against him for the classified materials seized from his Florida resort.
He's now formally accused of asking a Mar-a-Lago staff member to erase camera footage in an attempt to obstruct the probe into classified documents that wound up at the Palm Beach resort. In addition, Carlos de Olivero becomes the third man named in the indictment. He's charged with making false statements in an interview with the FBI. De Oliveira is ordered to face a judge Monday in Miami.
Fox's Gernal Scott. The former president also calls this election interference at its highest level, and he may have a lot to say about it tonight in Iowa when, as Fox's Jill Nato reports, the front runner in the 2024 White House Republican race will appear at the same event with his rivals for the first time.
13 GOP presidential candidates are on the bill for tonight's Lincoln dinner in Des Moines, Iowa. The only major candidate not appearing is former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who's focusing on the early primary state of New Hampshire.
Christie has been the fiercest Trump critic in the GOP race, calling him a liar and a coward. It's another really hot day with alerts up from Arkansas and Alabama to Minnesota, over to New England, down to North Carolina.
More than half of Americans right now are under some sort of heat advisory or warning, and that is putting power grids across the country to the test. The good news is, so far, they're holding up.
That's Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble. We just got an update on the economy the day after we found out it's growing more than expected. Consumer spending rose 0.5% last month from May, and a new gauge of inflation the Fed monitors closely shows price rises are slowing. Year-over-year inflation was 3% in June. That's the smallest increase since March 2021. America's listening to Fox News.
.72 degrees, skies are cloudy, and temperatures are heating back up. 74, actually, right now at 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Heavy storms and hot weather combining to slam and bake the Chicago area again today. There will be a heat advisory. Hot temperatures and high humidity causing some hospitals to look out for heat illnesses. 6 are injured, a 7th missing after a boat slammed into a break wall and overturned in Lake Michigan near Navy Pier this morning. 6 are transported to Stroger and Northwestern Memorial Hospitals, 1 in critical condition. A community meeting was held last night discussing turning the Broadway Armory into an illegal immigrant shelter. The Johnson administration took heavy flack from Northside residents like Eileen Johnson.
This is really disappointing to me, not only that because I'm losing like the place that I do my sport, but also because I see how many kids rely on this building for after-school programs.
The Park District is looking for ways to abandon programs at the Armory, moving summer camps and senior programs away from the park. 2 men are hurt after a small plane crashes in DeKalb County. Pilot and passenger were sent to the hospital. Their conditions are unknown. 3 are accused of stealing more than 45 iPhones from a Verizon store in Bloomingdale. Alyssa Velkew and Mariana Lordak are both held on $100,000 each. Meanwhile, a juvenile is detained after his next court appearance on July 31st. The news, a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Are you 65 or older and thinking about Medicare? Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today. Free Medicare advice. HealthInsuranceMentors.com or 630-674-1551. 804. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
ExxonMobil and Chevron brought in nearly $14 billion in earnings for the recent quarter, though the number is down from last year when Russia's invasion of Ukraine pushed energy prices higher. Both companies say they are looking for more opportunities to pick up related businesses. Procter & Gamble's sales and earnings are better than expected for the recent quarter. P&G says the inflation situation has improved from a year ago. P&G is still seeing strong loyalty to its brands, which include Pampers, Tide, and Charmin. Colgate-Palmolive also reported an upbeat quarter. Trucking company Yellow says it's talking with potential buyers for its Yellow Logistics business, a unit that provides warehouse services. The Wall Street Journal says Yellow also is preparing to file for bankruptcy protection. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka knows why it's Trump.
Why President Trump is the one. You know the simplest answer? Because the establishment hates him on both sides. The Democrats hate him. because the working class loves him. The Republican establishment hate him because they can't control him.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mick McDonald, co-founder of Configure One, a global leader in configure, price, and quote software for manufacturers, and a new customer of Signature Bank. Configure One recently came to Signature Bank for a loan under the Paycheck Protection Program after our previous business bank of 20 years left us out in the cold. When I called Signature, I worked directly with one of the founders of the bank, who assured me that my application would be submitted immediately. 1 week later, my loan was approved and funded, and I moved my entire banking relationship to Signature. Signature Bank is incredibly responsive, fully transparent, and a great partner for my business.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know most vitamin supplements have a warning label on the back? That's because without the synergy of thousands of nutrients working together that are found naturally in whole fruits and vegetables, vitamins are not balanced. This is why Balance of Nature only uses whole fruits and vegetables, no isolates or synthetic vitamins of any kind. We take a variety of 31 of the highest quality fruits and vegetables and remove the water without changing the rich chemistry. It's then ground to a powder, blended to perfection, and encapsulated, preserving the nutrients and making it easy to get the fruits and vegetables you need. So even though Balance of Nature comes in a capsule and looks like a vitamin, it's very different. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com and get $25 off plus a free travel set on your first preferred order when you use discount code CHICAGO. This limited time offer ends July 31st.
Greetings, Sebastian Gorka here. For years, I've mentioned how much Relief Factor has helped the pain in my lower back. Gary from Ohio shared his experience too. He writes, I tried Relief Factor due to its botanical ingredients to reduce pain in my shoulder, knee, and lower back. After just a few weeks, the knee pain was completely gone, and the shoulder and back pain were reduced quite a bit. I can now exercise much more comfortably and practically pain-free. Thank you, Relief Factor. After trying Relief Factor, over 500,000 people have gone on to order more. So it looks like a lot of people are thanking Relief Factor. 3 weeks from now, you could be doing the things you enjoy doing. Your first step to becoming pain-free should be to order the 3-week quick start at the reduced price of $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference with Relief Factor. relieffactor.com.
8:09, and right now let's get a check on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. We'll start on the inbound Kennedy, where it's an hour from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange, and you are bottled up. Stop and go Montrose into Armitage. Outbound Kennedy, slow between Montrose and Harlem Avenue. I-10 31 from Mannheim into the old post office. Dan Ryan in 25 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. I-57, due to an earlier accident, you've got big jams on the outbound side between Cal-Sag and Dixie Highway. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A heat advisory this afternoon through the evening. Some sun, then maybe a shower and thunderstorm for the afternoon. Could be a strong one. Damaging wind, flash flooding, hail, high 98. Strong thunderstorms this evening, low 71. Partly sunny, nice day tomorrow, the high 80. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Rain is pretty much ended across the area. 73 at O'Hare. In fact, we have partly sunny skies in Aurora right now, and 73. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Senator Feinstein, would you like to weigh in on the defense authorization bill? Sure, she would.
Senator Feinstein.
Say aye. Pardon me? Aye. Yeah.
Who, me?
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense, and it funds priorities submitted. Yeah, just say aye. Okay, just
What do I do here?
aye. Thank you.
Oh, she's so cute. Yeah.
Oh, is she 90 years old?
Dianne Feinstein, for those wondering, like Mitch McConnell and every other 80 or 90-year-old in power in D.C., is in the best cognitive and physical shape of their life.
It's almost like elder abuse watching this. I mean, I know it was funny and people laugh, but it's some serious stuff. And Mitch McConnell just blanking and staring. I thought he might have had a mini stroke the other day. And a reporter asked right away when he came back, said, who's going to replace you? That was the first question out of the box. It's like they're so used to their politicians being old and flaking out or going to happy places.
There's a movie for you to watch this weekend, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. Actually, an excellent movie. It's about a French fashion magazine, Elle, I think it was, editor who suffers locked-in syndrome, and he can only blink one eyelid, just locked in. It's inexplainable.
Wow.
Suffered that for the rest of his life. It's something that's obviously neurological in nature, and he learned to communicate by just blinking his eye, working with a nurse to like signal letters, and he wrote a book that way, blinking one eyelid. So it's sort of an incredible story, and it's also good news because that means that Di-Fi and Mitch McConnell and every other 80 and 90-year-old can be with us for as long as they can at least blink one eyelid. And that inspires a lot of confidence, too, by the way, people like Senator Di-Fi having, significant authority over things that are of somewhat importance, like defense budget that relates to our national security. Inspires confidence. Sure. Well, in a related story, again, to my point, Mick Jagger celebrates his 80th birthday with a hug from his 6-year-old son. Like every 80-year-old enjoys.
Dad?
Want to have a catch. He would have had a catch, but...
Dad, can I play with your ARP card?
ARP? I think we're a little beyond that at 80.
Wow.
Would have had a catch, but he, afraid he'd pull something or drop something like a limb. For more on the state of affairs with our military, pleased to be joined by Seth Cropsey, president and founder of the Yorktown Institute, that is, former senior fellow at the Hudson Institute. He served as the Deputy Undersecretary of the Navy in the Reagan administration and as acting Secretary of Defense for Special Operations and Low-Intensity Conflict, the best kind, in the George H.W. Bush administration. And he's also a South Sider. Seth Cropsey, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure. Nice to be here.
Good to have you. So, we've talked a lot about Generals Milley and Austin over the last couple of years as they have gotten into all sorts of areas of social policy with respect to race and with respect to gender, and how is this enhancing the cohesion of our military and thus their effectiveness in providing for our security, not to mention against the backdrop of the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, which they claim wasn't a disaster. But you hit upon something else that we should be concerned about with respect to Milley in particular as he's set to retire. And what is that, the future jointness czar that you write about? Why is this an area of concern?
Well, what Milley wants is another layer of bureaucracy in the Pentagon that would be very powerful because it would have the ability to make fundamental decisions about what shape and size and technology and doctrine the military services use. And the problem with that is that that's taking critical decisions about the shape and character of our military away from the people who understand it best, which is to say the individual services which are trained in it, and giving it to a staff, and at the same time creating another level of bureaucracy which the Pentagon does not need.
And what's the theory behind what Milley is doing from his perspective? What would he argue this is necessary because?
Because the services fight with each other, because they don't see the whole picture, because a general staff, which is a long-standing Army project, is in the best position to make decisions about all the services. And it's a misinterpretation of jointness, at least understood by the previous 20 years of how chairman and members of the Joint Chiefs have interpreted it.
So, in addition to a threat that is presented as a solution, what is the fundamental challenge that the United States military has today? Not the technological one, but the organizational one, in your view?
The fundamental challenge is that we are in at very best, an interwar period, and more likely a pre-war period vis-a-vis China. Ukraine doesn't make things any easier as far as Europe is concerned, and the military budgets have, at best, been keeping pace with inflation, while our competitors and possible enemy continue to increase their military budgets and their military forces, really outpacing us. China has a larger navy than we do, at least in number of vessels. Iran is on the verge of having a nuclear weapon, and look at what's going on in Ukraine. It's the Ukrainians are having some successes, but it's a hard slog, and we're simply not acting as though the possibility of war exists, nor, and this is equally important, the possibility of deterring that war.
Now, Mark Milley is going to be stepping down soon, and Biden has picked General Charles Brown Jr. as the next chairman. Is he going to be any better or any different?
He hasn't shown the same indication as Milley has throughout his chairmanship and even before to get politically involved. The whole equation has been thrown off kilter because the last two administrations have appointed recently retired military officers to the civilian position, the Secretary of Defense. And that distorts military ambition at the highest level in a bad way, which is to say that generals and admirals who see the possibility or a path to becoming Secretary of Defense are more likely to shade their opinions politically in order to please their political masters, which in this case means the President and the Secretary of Defense. And that's not good for the country. It's much better that the senior officers, especially at the highest ranks, give the military opinion rather than think about how it's going to sound with the person they're providing it to.
So that's interesting. So you would advise, if you were advising a president, an ex-president, any presidential candidates, you would say, don't make senior military officers parts of your cabinet. Don't make them chief of staff. Let them stay in their lane and know that they're there to give opinions based on their belief, consistent with their expertise, and not based on aspirations to have more profile.
Yes, and that means keeping them out of the senior civilian positions.
Yeah.
Like Chief of Staff or Secretary of Defense. Yeah. I mean, these officers have a lot to provide, and it's not a reflection on their competence or seriousness or expertise, but it is a reflection of how the political system operates, that if given the ambition and the possibility of advancement to more powerful positions, they'll respond.
Well, and it's also a reminder that the armed services are civilian controlled in this representative republic. That it's the president is the commander in chief, the civilian control of the military, not military control of the military.
That's right.
I want just speaking about Milley and Austin. I mean, in my view, they've been really obsequious and terrible. Some of the answers about critical race theory and the books that are being assigned, and the gender stuff, and financing all of these trans surgeries and procedures, and reducing the standards that need to be met by the enlisted because of their gender identity. I mean, all this stuff is terrible. But by the same token, it's been in the works for a long time in the military, just like in our political culture. I mean, I have very limited view on this, but I just remember going to the War College, Army War College in Camp Hill for their week-long civilian seminar, where you get to interact with, senior people that are moving up the ranks moving up the officer ranks. The same thing with the Navy War College in Newport. And it wasn't so much the men and women that were enlisted that you got to interact with. That was really enjoyable, like smart, talented people. But the speakers that the branches brought for the combination of civilian and military folks in attendance, I mean, they were sort of left-leaning at best, political hacks that were spewing a bunch of stuff that I was, frankly, a decade ago, surprised to hear being sponsored by the armed services with respect to their future officer corps. And I just wonder what your perspective is on how long this drip, drip, drip in the military of cultural poison has been going on.
Well, I wouldn't call it cultural. I wouldn't say that it's a decades-long history of toxic dripping. It is a decades-long history of trying to use the military or using the military as an instrument of social change. And this goes back at least to the Carter administration. So there's nothing new and there's nothing good about it. The job of the military is to be prepared to defend the country and do so if called on. And a lot of this stuff that you're talking about doesn't really have anything to do with learning how to navigate a ship or operate a helicopter against tanks or do any of the other military tasks that are critical if the United States is going to be successful in the battlefield.
He is Seth Cropsey, president and founder of the Yorktown Institute, former senior fellow at the Hudson Institute. He served as the Deputy Undersecretary of the Navy under President Reagan. Seth Cropsey, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
It's the Season of Discovery sales event at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned Mazda, you need to visit Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. You'll find the Mazda you want, and the price you see is the price you get. No games, no gimmicks. And right now is a great time to buy a new Mazda with limited time incentives that only come around once a year. You can lease a 2023 Mazda CX-30 for $412 per month, or a 2023 Mazda CX-5 for $410 a month for 36 months with approved credit through Mazda Capital Services for qualified buyers. Just add license, title, tax, and $324.24 doc fee. Plus, stop in today and ask about the all-new 2024 Mazda CX-90. And to keep your Mazda running great all year round, schedule your next service appointment right online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda, conveniently located in Elmhurst off of York Road and 290, just minutes from Oak Brook downtown in Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com. See dealer for details.
Later, we'll have a segment called Know Your Audience, huh? Ooh, we'll explain. All right, for years you've heard about Turnkey, offering more than just managed IT services. Now they're stepping up to offer even more business solutions to help you navigate the day-to-day hurdles and help you grow. Do you have long-term strategies such as identifying new revenue streams, growing your customer base, or increasing your bottom line? Guess what? Turnkey can help. Maybe it's a short-term problem like an employee leaving abruptly or filling positions you've had open for months. Maybe you need a shift supervisor, a part-time CFO, an IT guy, or a temporary general manager. Turnkey can help. Whether it's a seasonal problem or a long-term need, Turnkey's consulting staff have years of experience in nearly every business function. And for a limited time, Turnkey will provide a free consultation to look at your situation and see what it would take to resolve it. Go to turnkey.pro and learn more. The pros at Turnkey share your values. They are Chicagoland small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
The Boston Consulting Group in Chicago, Illinois seeks a project leader/principal to manage the design and development of business strategies, including managing case team responsibilities and overseeing business development, client relationships, project planning, and the preparation of outputs. Candidates must have a bachelor's degree in business administration, management science, or a quantitative field related to a BCG client industry, plus 5 years of experience as a management consultant, business analyst, or a quantitative analyst, which must include at least 1 year in management strategy. BCG will alternatively accept a master's degree or higher in business administration, management science, or a quantitative field related to a BCG client industry and 3 years of experience as previously stated. Domestic or international travel is required based on company/client need. Multiple positions are available. To apply, send your resume to chiplp@bcg.com.
All right, it's time not only for Open Mic Friday at 8:38, but it's time for the Balance of Nature. Oh, yeah. Do it every day around this time. Crack open 6 capsules. I love it because it coats my throat. I use warm water, and I'm getting the fruits and vegetables that I didn't have the night before. In fact, how much fruits and vegetables did you have? Hey, Dan, what did you have to eat yesterday when you were at your golf outing with your friends in Michigan? Vodka's a potato, yes.
Blackened chicken sandwich and cottage cheese.
Oh.
Lunch. How's that?
No fruits or veggies?
I had lettuce and red onion on the blackened chicken sandwich. Is that okay?
It's a sad excuse for a serving of vegetables.
Would you like to continue this conversation, know what I had for breakfast?
No, you know what? I'm going to stop there.
All right, great.
Because clearly you need Balance of Nature. 31 different whole fruits and vegetables, real food, real nutrition. So get the nutrition your body needs. Because, you know, when you give your body the best possible fuel, guess what? You've got more energy. You can play golf better, Dan. You're stronger and you think more quickly. So do what I do and tens of thousands of others get Balance of Nature. 800-246-8751. 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
Building owners, property managers, and chief engineers. This one's for you.
Hello, this is Bruce Diedrich with Waukegan Roofing, your professional roofer. Everything starts on top. Your investment, your building, and everything in it is protected by your roof. It needs to be in good shape. That's where we can help. If it needs to be repaired or replaced, or you think it might, call us. Let's find out. Here's the number.
847-623-1625.
At Waukegan Roofing, our employees are union-trained roofing professionals with OSHA safety training certifications and have thorough knowledge and expertise regarding the various roofing systems we sell, maintain, and install. We know commercial roofing systems because that's all we do. Over 110 years of doing commercial roofs. Waukegan Roofing has the slogan,
Roofs you can rely on.
because you can. Here's the number to call.
847-623-1625.
And get the info at waukeganroofing.com. waukeganroofing.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, since we're talking about the military, I've been trying to get this story in all week.
Oh, yeah, about the vet?
Yeah, Pearl Harbor survivor, the only one in Louisiana, I understand. He turned 100 last weekend. He's a Navy vet named Joe Richard. And it's not just that he survived and he survived Pearl Harbor and turned 100. It's also...
Those are two accomplishments.
I know, but he had a bigger one.
Oh, what?
He saved the lives of 30 of his fellow sailors on that fateful day. Joe Richard.
He was honored on his 100th birthday.
You see, I'm the only Pearl Harbor survivor left in the state of Louisiana. And then there's only one left on the Arizona. Thanks for coming over. I appreciate him to come see me. And thank you for coming.
And these are his daughters, Brenda and Connie, and what they had to say about the celebration the community threw together for Joe Richard.
He's taught us the most important thing, to take care of the veterans. And anytime we've traveled to any of the cemeteries or Washington, D.C., his comment is, he's so sad for the boys that didn't get to come home.
It's just been a wonderful day, a blessing. We want to thank the VFW, American Legion, and Artemis, and all the volunteers, and everyone that donated. And thank you, Katie Ann.
Yeah, his daughters must be in their 80s or late 70s.
Yeah, they're probably
What a
60s,
great
70s for sure.
honor for him, and he deserves it.
Coming up at 8:38, Open Mic Friday, taking your calls with comments, concerns, compliments, criticisms, general crack pottery. We'll take it all at 8:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
8:32, 74 degrees. Heavy storms and hot weather continue to pummel the Chicago area. We had severe thunderstorms crossing the area this morning, and they could return later this afternoon. Former President Donald Trump facing more charges in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Special counsel Jack Smith filed a new indictment yesterday, alleging that the former president requested security footage be deleted. The Republican leadership this morning downplaying an incident this week with Senator Mitch McConnell, where he froze up during a press conference. Fellow Senator John Cornyn.
There's no contingency plans. I've served for a long time with Senator McConnell. There's been no more effective leader.
Leader McConnell suffered a concussion earlier this year and has two other falls. The 81-year-old also survived polio. Is up for re-election in 2026. 6 people are injured, a 7th missing, feared dead, after a boat hit a break wall and overturned in Lake Michigan near Navy Pier this morning. Chicago Fire says 6 were transported, 1 in critical condition. A community meeting was held last night discussing the possibility of turning Broadway Armory Park into an illegal immigrant shelter. Edgewater resident Laura Chamberlain wants to know why the building was chosen with other options easily available.
1,600 people of our community, at-risk kids, come every week. Why would you do that? And why would you not? There's 5 empty churches in our area.
The Park District is looking at ways to abandon programs at the Armory, moving them, like summer camp, along with programs for seniors as well. Chicago police officer is accused of accidentally shooting another officer this week on the south side. COPA says officers were called out Monday night to the 300 block of West 56th Place. A group was gathering in an alley in and around a car. The driver took off, crashing into one of the police vehicles. The officer opened fire, but may have hit a fellow officer in the hand. The wounded officer this morning is in good condition. Illinois is targeting pro-life crisis pregnancy centers. Planned Parenthood of Illinois CEO and President Jennifer Welch spoke out in anger against the centers that provide multitude of options to women in crisis pregnancy.
The goal of these centers is simple. They're trying to get people in their doors to stop them from having abortions.
The narrowly crafted anti-pregnancy center law put together by Governor J.B. Pritzker gives the Illinois Attorney General wide powers to investigate complaints against centers. Randy Meisner of the Eagles is dead at the age of 77. It's probably his signature song, Take It to the Limit. Band announced the news on Thursday night, revealing he's passed away due to complications from COPD. The humble Midwest guy from Nebraska was also a bassist for the band Poco before his success with the Eagles, and after had major success with other bands as well. Cubs rattle off 14 hits in a 10-3 rout of the Cardinals at Busch, while the White Sox lost to Cleveland 6-3. The news, a service of MyPillow. Queen-size MyPillow's regular price is $69.98. But right now, only $19.98 with promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher isn't sure what to think.
Your concern is that the Ukrainians, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. Where's the concern for the United States in that?
Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern.
I don't think "that's not my concern" means what Mike Pence thinks it means. And I don't have a clue.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
The best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda is to opt out of his inflation game by diversifying your savings into gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, so text SHELTER to 989898 right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Turbulent times call for clear-headed insight. That's hard to come by these days, especially on TV. That's where we come in. The new Salem News Channel, the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. Home to the people you trust. Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Refreshingly honest, always unfiltered. Streaming free on your TV 24/7. Intelligent analysis for intelligent people. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Research shows people ignore radio ads. While I want you to remember that Liberty Mutual customizes and saves you hundreds on home insurance, I know no one's listening, so I can say anything. I can even tell Jenny that I never stop thinking about us. Sometimes I almost call, but I only truly feel safe revealing this in the privacy of my nationally broadcast radio ad.
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Savings may vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
8:39. Let's get a quick update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Lowe's. MVP bonus days are back at Lowe's. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt impact driver or drill for just $99 each. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 8/2. Kennedy inbound at 65 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound, 44 back out to the big airport. Ike in, 45, 390 into the old post office. Stevenson in 38 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And the Ryan, 23 in, 95th into the Circle. Accident reported on DuSable Lakeshore Drive this morning southbound between Belmont and the Oak Street curve. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Temperatures soaring near 95 with strong afternoon thunderstorms expected. Storms continue till around midnight, then mostly cloudy and a bit cooler, low 71, and a nicer day on Saturday with a high near 80. 74 right now. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
Dan and Amy, yes, it's that time. Open Mic Friday. Taking your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Anything you want to talk about, offer a compliment, a criticism, a concern, a general example of crack pottery, whatever you like. And I have something I want to get to. Have to get to this.
Before or after me?
Before.
Well,
that's why I just dove in. Yeah, exactly.
Shoehorned yourself in. All right, go. What do you got?
This is Shaden Walker. This kid 11-year-old kid from Amarillo, Texas.
It's Amarillo, but.
Yeah, okay. Wonderful accent. Yeah. Yeah. Hell or high water over there. Yeah, okay.
That's how they say it in Texas.
Shaden Walker is an 11-year-old, and he's going door to door to look for friends. You know why this speaks to me.
It's a young Dan Proft.
Hi. I just wanted to see if you knew any kids around like 11 or 12 maybe, because I need some friends, like really bad.
So the house to your right, there's two kids that live there. Yeah, that direction.
That one or that one?
The first one that you pointed to.
This one? Okay. Well, they're not my friends anymore, because, they're bullies to me.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, man.
They keep bullying me. Yeah, I'm just wondering, though.
Nah, man, I've only got a...
I mean, well, do you have any kids?
Yeah, she's 2 years old, though, man. I got a...
Oh, okay, that's great, because I love 2-year-olds, to be honest. They're just like the most cutest things I have ever known.
Cool, man.
Cause like, you know, I have a 2-year-old. I used to have a 2-year-old sister. She was a handful, but I really enjoyed spending time with her.
Used to.
Yeah, man.
What
we just
happened
got
to
a
her?
little baby, so.
Okay, get off my lawn. Now it's getting creepy.
Okay.
Alrighty, well, what's your name, Meryl?
Shaden Walker.
Cool, man. If I see you around, I'll tell you hi.
Okay.
All right, man.
You have a good day.
Oh, he's so polite.
All right, if I see
so
any,
sweet.
if I come across any 11-year-olds, I'll send them your way. See, here's the thing.
Why do you have a problem with it? This is like
No.
This is what you used to do when you were growing up in Wheaton, knocking on doors.
I
Can you be my friend?
I have two problems with it. And by the way, I mean the kid didn't mean anything creepy.
No, I know.
He's not just 11, only 11, so he's innocent, but he's also autistic.
Oh,
And-
I'm such a horrible person. I know.
And so am I. But I mean, we were having fun with him, not at his expense. He's a nice kid, and it's it's a touching story that he would go door to door. It's cute, and also the first problem I have is some people saw this video went viral, and they started a GoFundMe page.
Why?
To
Why to buy him friends?
And they raised like 40 grand.
What? 40 grand?
Something like that. At the last count, I haven't looked in the last day. So I had to pay out of pocket for my friends because we didn't have crowdfunding back in my day. So that's the first problem I have. The second problem, what is this? This dude is talking to him through like the Ring camera
I know.
thing.
Come out and talk to him like a man.
Exactly. I mean, he's sitting there trying to have a conversation, and you're speaking into a camera or a voice box.
That's the new reality.
It's just like, what is wrong with the adults here? Come out and sit down with the kid and whatever. I'm busy. Could have been busy or whatever. Come on.
I just love that he
Anyway.
advocated for himself and just went door to door looking for friends. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, can I get off my chest?
Oh
what
God, the
I don't-
Broadway Armory. The
That is-
Broadway
okay,
Armory and the
it
end
is-
of Lakeview as we know it.
It's Edgewater, but Lakeview kids use it.
Yeah,
All
that's what I
kids throughout
mean.
the whole kids throughout the whole city use the Broadway Armory. It's
Never
one of the
used it
largest
when I was a kid.
one of the largest indoor spaces in the city of Chicago. And now it's been turned over to illegal immigrants. And this is what it provided for a lot of people.
The programs in this space provide educational, recreational resources, and a safe haven for the youth, for our older adults.
And yesterday, I mean, I didn't go to the event because I was told ahead of time, oh, Amy, don't waste your time. It's already been decided. But was told on Twitter that I need to be a better neighbor because, Amy, they're housing women and children. I'll believe that when I see it.
How can you survive without a shelter? What do you do when you don't have a roof? You don't have food?
The armory is not being shut down. It's being used to help people in need.
I mean, please. And they're not shutting it down. They're repurposing the space. Our space that our tax dollars go to. The place where kids who are at risk, who Brandon Johnson wants to protect, are now being thrown out on the streets on Friday nights and Saturdays. Please.
It is hard for us to repurpose space.
No, it's not.
But it is a time that we're living right now where we need to repurpose space.
No, you need to tell
Boobers were out. I heard that.
Biden to shut down the border, just like
Yeah.
Trump did, to stop them from coming. No, Dan, do people in Illinois realize that we spent $94 million in tax dollars so far? Just so far. And everybody from your old alderman, Bryden Riley, to Waldsworth Elementary School, to a shelter in Lopez's ward. There's drug sales, male and female prostitution.
Oh, wow.
People,
Good.
human trafficking,
opportunity.
people, illegals with cars that are parking in bike lanes. And at the end of Chicago, they're taking dumps outside the main entrance there. And in Woodlawn, oh, they're going to be vigilantes. They're done with police. They're taking it to the streets themselves.
Let me say this. They got one more time to deal with it because otherwise, next time they deal with it, they're going to deal with it from the streets. We're going to take over it. Nobody's going to be able to stop us from what we're going to do to them.
So when people, are shaming you, saying you should be a better neighbor, well, just wait until you see what's coming to your neighborhood because
Yeah.
all that stuff that's happening at other shelters is coming to yours
And
in the Edgewater neighborhood.
Okay. And the disintegration continues as anticipated. And this is wholly unsurprising. And this is what the people want, so they're getting it. Okay. Oh, and you say, oh, well, they're booing and they don't want this. Well,
There were some boo bears out
well,
there. Yeah.
I don't remember those people booing when Chicago became a sanctuary city. Were they? Were they even aware?
No, probably not. But
Right.
they're aware now.
Too late.
Only-
Verlon's
saying
outside.
too bad is what you're saying. Okay.
Hey, Verlon.
Yeah, how you doing? Dan, this question is for you. The last guest that you had on, the Ayn Rand follower, he said something that made me think. He used the word selfishness and said it's a good thing. So I want to ask you, can selfishness be interpreted as greed? And is greed a sin because religion teaches you to be charitable towards your fellow man?
Greed is good. Greed clarifies, as Gordon Gekko told us. No, the point is the connotations associated with these words. Selfishness in the Randian context means self-interest. And that was the point that Jonathan Hoenig made. So people acting in their self-interest, it's just this an updated version of what Adam Smith talked about in his distillation of the invisible hand. It's people acting in their self-interest, and others benefit through their self-interested action. So that can be in business, or that can be in philanthropy. I make a lot of money, and I feel like I've had great opportunities, and I've been able to have success, and I see people in need, or this particular cause is close to my heart for whatever reason, and then I became a benefactor to people in the social service space doing good work in advance of serving man. So, being self-interested should not have a negative connotation because it produces positive results for more than the person. That's the point. Thanks for the call, Verlon. Frank in Arlington Heights.
Hey, good morning. Well, the way I talk about that self-interest with my kids is I say something real simple with them. You go into a Little Caesars, you pay $6 for a pizza, and how many thousands of people literally had to be involved in getting that pizza to you?
It's
who made the milk.
It's iPencil.
It's
It's Leonard Reed's iPencil. Go read. Every child should read iPencil. Leonard Reed's famous essay on the making of a pencil, which is exactly what Frank you're talking about with respect to the pizza. But yeah, that's even a more concrete, real world example than the pencil. But Leonard Reed's iPencil to me is the definitive essay on this question. Anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. So my reason for the call today was a quiz for Amy.
Oh.
On Mount Prospect Streets. I mean, I'm into my streets.
Oh.
So all right. So Amy, you lived in Mount Prospect years ago, and
a nudist colony.
I got two different sections of questions for you. One, I think you'll be easy for you to get, which is the streets Lewis and William and Edward and Albert and Isabella. Those are all near the downtown. Do you know who those are named after?
I was on the other side of the tracks.
Albert.
I have to be honest with you.
The guy in the
I
can?
grew up on
Was
Albert,
it the guy in
Prince
the can?
Albert in the can.
Yeah.
Didn't I go to prom with him? No, I have no idea who they're named after. I'm somebody's children, I guess.
Dan, you would know, I'm assuming.
Everybody's somebody's child. Oh, really? That's good. They're named after humans, Frank? Is that correct?
I would say they're named after royalty. That's
yes.
what I would say they're named after.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, named after royalty.
Yeah.
Now here is another one over by St. Emily's. You know where that is, right?
I know my girl Kathy. You
okay.
know.
You know
went
your
to
Mount
St.
Prospect.
Emily's. Yeah,
Right?
I know. Yeah, that's on Kensington. Go on.
No, it's on.
Or is it Wolf? Sorry.
Yeah.
Central.
You
Mine
know-
Wolf.
Central.
Yeah.
You know, same thing.
She knows her Mount Prospect. There's no question.
I grew up at Lake in Euclid. That's the same thing. I grew up at River Road in Euclid.
So, I had a friend who lived on Horner Street over there.
Mm-hmm.
Any idea whom Horner Street is named after?
Mr. Horner. I have no idea.
Because and Dan might be able to get this from some of the other names in the area, because the whole subdivision is all of these different is the same type of person. So you have Stevenson, and Stratton, and Loudon, and Green, and Yates. And
Governors of Illinois.
There it is.
Because I remember Green.
I think
Greeny Green.
Amy,
Green.
Frank, could you?
I figured that out by myself.
Affirmation. She just said governors of Illinois.
Yeah, you
is
said
that correct,
Stevenson.
Frank?
That is correct. There's even deep in the bowels of that subdivision a pain to Governor Len Small,
from Kankakee,
1920s. Yeah,
I love that guy. I mean, he was really accessible to the media too.
I mean, hey, Amy.
He got indicted for stealing money, and then he got acquitted, and then it was found that he tampered with the jury. And back in the good old days.
So Illinois.
It's been going on for a while, folks. Yeah.
The subdivision I grew up in, it was Moki, Hopi, Kiowa. Do you know what we were named after?
I'm assuming that was Native American tribes?
Hey! Right by Indian Grove Elementary.
All right,
School.
Frank.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the call. We're done with Arlington Heights or Mount Prospect trivia.
It's Pleasantville to you.
John in Bridgeport.
Hello?
Hey, John.
Hey, hi, Dan and Amy. It's good to talk. I haven't called for a long time. I'm really ticked off at this, too. Why were they given anything at the border except maybe a sheet of paper with their share of the national debt? I think it's, $213,000 we each supposedly owe? And then also say that if you don't have family here, there's really no bus ride to take you anywhere. So there's the road going east. There's the road going back to Mexico South. And that's it. Why were they given anything? And how long are they going to be given things for the rest of their lives? Because how many are going to be able to build, with skills and that? I mean, I don't get it. And then if they have children, I mean, what's the story there? So, I mean, they're going ahead of all the citizens and also all the people that are paying, legal fees and whatever to become a U.S. citizen, sitting and waiting in their own country, I'm sure. They've not, So what's with all that? Why is that put up there?
I know. They're hoping that they'll find that the people that they're going to put in the armory, allegedly women and children, allegedly, that eventually they'll find jobs and other housing. And they're going to revisit this in 6 months, which means the Broadway Armory is never going to open to us Chicagoans ever again.
Al in Rosemont.
Thank you for taking my call. It's a privilege to talk to you and Amy. Real quick, this thing out on the south side of Woodline is going to come to a quick head. There's going to be some problems, and it probably be in the next 3 days. This thing isn't going to wait for them people to roll out a solution over there in that area. Number two, I just want, and Woodline, this is going to be a big old stink over there, probably over the weekend. Number two, I just want to say, hey, go Cubs. I think we're going to win this division.
Thanks for the call. All right. No, I don't think so. I don't think you are going to win this division. I think the Brewers are going to win that division. Chuck and Delavan.
Hey, tomorrow night, Eli Duo, I'll be dancing away. I got a brand new pair of dance shoes. Dan, I want to thank you for saying that you enjoyed talking to me about septic tanks.
No, thank you, sir.
Oh,
yeah.
We're going to go back there.
And then I earlier in the week they had that one song, Obama's wife song, and I didn't get a chance to get through it. And it was written by Joan Rivers. I wanted to sing it real quick.
Okay.
Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boys. She'll tear you up. Oh, here she comes. She's transgender.
Oh, my God.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
It's so bad.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. As a CPA firm, we have been serving our business clients since 1968 by providing audit, accounting, tax, advisory, and consulting services. We as trusted advisors go beyond what our clients hired us to do by thinking outside the box to understand their operations and industry. We want to discover ways to increase their net income and cash flow by reducing costs or increasing efficiencies. To this end, PKF Mueller provides several client value-added services through strategic relationships. Our partners are specialists and serve the same type of clients that we do and add value by reducing our clients' overall electric and gas costs, discovering inaccuracies and overcharges on utility bills, assisting in financing of real estate, and helping to reduce uncollectible accounts and bad debt expenses. To learn more about our value-added service providers and how we can assist, call me directly at 630-524-5274 or dnissen@pkfmueller.com.
Gatto Industrial Platers, Inc. is the specialist in zinc and zinc nickel plating. Gatto is big, they're good, and they're easy to work with. Their high production rack plating line has up to a 27-foot capacity to handle any zinc plating requirement. Gatto's 210,000 square foot facility can process 300 tons per day and offers complete custom packaging with available pickup and delivery in the Chicago metro area by Gatto's own fleet of trucks. All of Gatto's products are inspected and certified to ensure that each customer is receiving the best and most cost-effective plating protection. Gatto is home to King Kong, the largest zinc plating line in North America that can zinc plate parts up to 27 feet long and weighing up to 8,000 pounds. For a quote and fast 24 to 48-hour service, call George Gatto Jr. or George Gatto Sr. at 1-800-290-1223. That's 1-800-290-1223. 1-800-290-1223.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh. guys are so bad.
Tribute to Michelle Obama.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to Justin Kosick, his cute dog Somersault, who's here today, and Quinn McCarthy today. A high temperature of near 100. It's now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
He won't stop running even if convicted. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what former President Trump told a radio show this morning, again claiming he did nothing wrong as more charges are added to the classified documents criminal case, including an accusation he tried to get a staffer who is now also charged to delete security footage.
2 obstruction of justice charges relating to the attempted deletion of the surveillance footage, along with 1 additional charge for willful retention of defense information. And the third person that has been added along with the Trump aide Waldnada, the new third person, is Carlos de Oliveira, the head of maintenance at Mar-a-Lago. Oliveira is facing obstruction of justice charges as well as lying to the FBI.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. The former president's calling the charges election interference. Tonight in Iowa, he'll attend the same event as 12 of his Republican 2024 rivals. Meanwhile,
Vice President Kamala Harris will also be in Des Moines. She'll be speaking about abortion rights and the tough new abortion restrictions just signed into law by Iowa's Republican governor. That law has been temporarily blocked by a district court.
Fox's Jill Nato. President Biden will soon leave for Maine to tout his economic agenda as a new report shows inflation slowing. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell plans to serve out his full term. A spokesman just said that 2 days after the 81-year-old froze up for 18 seconds mid-sentence at a news conference.
One Republican source said McConnell doesn't seem the same after a concussion earlier this year. Another source says McConnell appeared to struggle for oxygen on the Senate